Following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Happy Tax Cuts for the Rich Tuesday to you, my good buddy.
Hey, Crudy, happy Tax Cut for the Rich Day to you, too?
Breaking news from the Hill. The Republicans in the House of Representatives, and it is exclusively Republicans, not even all of the Republicans, but enough of the Republicans have voted for tax cuts for the rich. It's passed the House.
And according to CNN, the Senate votes soon.
Senate votes tonight.
Tonight!
Trump to sign it tomorrow.
Get it done quick.
Here's a question I would have. What about keeping the government open beyond Friday? Got this continuing resolution. Expires December 22nd. You would think the Republicans' priority might be keeping the government open.
Well, that can get done after you pass the tax cuts for the rich, Crudy. See, priorities. Money for the donor class, and then worrying about whether or not we want to keep this bloated, bureaucratic, deep state government running. Or not. You know, you never know. It could be good for Trump politically if the government gets shut down.
He has made allusions to that point, has he not? Let's start, though. Some sound from D.C. on the House and Paul Ryan, Speaker of the House. For how much longer? We can only speculate. But Wisconsin's own Paul Ryan, he got interrupted a bit today on the Hill. Dom, you got the numbers?
I haven't heard it. I know Brian's got it set up for us. Let's hear the interruption. Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
There are two separate clips.
Yes.
One is not Paul Ryan. The second is Paul Ryan, but I believe they're the same group of protesters.
Buddy, we've been on the air for like 2.5 minutes. You're already mid-snap.
Let's play it all for the folks. Let's hear what it sounded like today. Historic tax cuts in the House, and Speaker Paul Ryan, you know, he had something to say about it.
The actual medicine is not produced here. It's produced in Ireland because
the chair has detected a disturbance in the gallery in contravention of the law and against the rules of the House. The Sergeant at Arms will identify the person or persons responsible and have them escorted from the House chamber.
I believe I heard chants of kill the bill and something to the effect that, what, Paul Ryan lies?
A disturbance in the force.
They're saying kill the bill, don't kill us. That's the first one.
Well, Paul Ryan lies. I always kind of hear that.
It kind of rhymes with everything.
So anyways, let's just jump right into the second soundbite, and then we'll talk about it. Play it for the people, Fancy Brian.
today we are giving the people of this country their money back. This is their money after all. This chairman or Speaker of the House is not in order.
The chair notes a disturbance in the gallery in contravention of the law and against the rules of the House. The Sergeant at Arms will identify the person or persons responsible and have them escorted from the House chamber before proceedings will resume.
Liar, liar, pants on fire, Paul Ryan.
I wish you weren't a liar.
So protesters letting themselves be heard. You know, I got to throw back. Do you remember not so long ago when Speaker Ryan, I'm going to call this one out, number one. I dug this one up, doing a Paul Ryan search, you know, today before the show of different cuts that we've had. This one stuck with me. I wonder how cut number one flows with what he said today.
The left is making a big mistake here.
What they're offering people is a full stomach and an empty soul.
A full stomach and an empty soul, Paul Ryan said not so long ago. Now, I'm just wondering, will this tax cut provide the rich and the wealthy with a full stomach and an empty soul?
Well, a good Christian like Paul Ryan would know it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than a rich man to get into heaven. I don't think he cares. Ryan, more Ryan sound, it appears.
Well, this one is another throwback. Remember, this is the Speaker of the House. This is the guy who, when in college, fantasized about entitlement reform, because now that the tax cuts have been passed through the House, Senate, perhaps we're
Potential. And we're doing it today.
Now, here's what I don't understand. You see the quarterly numbers. GDP growth seems to be increasing, and certainly a foundation laid by President Barack Obama after the Bush administration, the Great Recession, etc. There is lag in the economy, but if we're already, winding up and getting up to that 3%, then why do you need the tax cut, Paul
4%, 5%, 10% growth.
Can I get a 15? Let's keep going.
Perhaps as high as 42%.
You never know. Next cut, please.
This is the greatest example of a promise being made and a promise being kept. It's been a long time.
To the Koch brothers, to the wealthy, to the donor class. I mean, Paul Ryan, didn't Paul Ryan say something earlier today? I don't know if we have this sound. But effectively, he says, if you don't think this tax bill's a good thing, it's because you're being misled by somebody. Somebody's out there telling the media all sorts of lies. And I'm thinking it's you, Paul Ryan, in your defense of this tax cut for not even just the top 1%, the top 0.1%.
Right. Some rich aren't going to get taken care of as some really, really rich.
Yes, this is not so much a tax cut for the rich as a tax cut for the uber rich.
And here's something else I think we need to throw out there as well. When faced with the obvious hypocrisy of permanent tax cuts for corporations and temporary for those lowly rest of us, I've heard conservatives say, well, businesses, they need time to plan. They need plan. They need consistency. They need to know that government is going to, be consistent for them so they can make the investments that they need to make to, build the economy and jobs and profits, et cetera. I'm thinking to myself, what is it about a corporation versus my existence? I don't need to plan. I don't need consistency. I don't need the same level of knowledge and governmental control of things remaining the same as a corporation.
You'll roll with it.
Yeah, but the corporations can't. I'm much more flexible. I have more resources to roll with it.
Well, they need a profit strategy, Dom, and you just need to stay alive if you can. Buddy, here's the part. You talk about the priorities. They passed this tax cut for the uber rich before they did anything to keep the government operating beyond this week. Let's not forget, next week, Santa Claus is coming, right? Maybe not.
Yeah, well,
But they made this the priority, and Paul Ryan's telling people apparently today, don't plan on leaving town anytime soon, because eventually we got to vote to keep the government open. Eventually. Priority, whatever comes next. Let me read briefly from thehill.com. Melanie Zanona, House GOP leaders, in fact, they're playing brinksmanship this week in the midst of this.
Right now. I mean, everything they're not doing to solve the issue of the government staying open is another step closer, another second closer. We get to that happening.
Well, Dom, in fact, the House GOP leaders are sending forth a bill that is completely unpalatable to their Republican colleagues in the Senate. You need it to pass both sides to keep the government open beyond Friday.
Well, hell, the House can say, we passed taxes. Hell, they passed the repeal of the ACA, Crudy. They're just going to throw it on the Senate. What's the Senate going to do?
Well, here's the deal. The unacceptable version of the House bill's got to go to the Senate. And the Senate could say, hell no, we're not doing that. And if the Senate sends back a clean resolution, just keep the government open, here's money, keep it open for a month. There's not the support of the House Republican caucus.
The Freedom Caucus not going to like that?
The conservative aspect of the caucus will not vote to keep the government open.
Will the Democrats?
that becomes the question. Should we, the Democrats, in light of all the crap getting jammed down our throats, should we be the ones that bail out Paul Ryan's ass? If Paul Ryan can't keep the government open, if his priority is tax cuts for the uber rich, why should we as Democrats turn around and be the ones that carry the continuing resolution to the finish line if Paul Ryan's own caucus will not do so?
Because you care, and the Democrats care, presumably, about good governance.
We'll debate that point. Coming back, more Devil's Advocates. You're listening to us on Wisconsin's only Resistance Radio, 1510 AM. Big guests also, but I'll tell you about those after this short commercial break.
Because now I see the destructive power of a lie that's stronger than truth. 'Cause I'm a liar, 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 liar.
Hi, this is Brad Saug, owner of Zero Res Madison Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is the best new technology in carpet cleaning. We have a patented process using empowered water, a high-tech process in which we force the water to act like soap. It doesn't want to stay in that state. It's jacked up and it's angry and it wants to hit the dirt and then it neutralizes. When we're done, all that's left in your carpet is just light moisture. In the end, you get the cleanest, greenest, healthiest carpet cleaning available. Call us at 848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it backward or forward. It's the right way to clean.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call a number on the for sale sign?
Great question. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you the home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner to buy that house at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust.
Like you?
Like me. I will find the home that best fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from the offer through closing day. And the best part is that the buyer doesn't have to pay a dime for me to represent them.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
We are the People for People, People Corporation. We are a registered 501c3, totally legit. What do? We take your uncapped, dark money, tax-deductible donations, private or corporate, always anonymous, and we turn it into free speech. You know, educate Wisconsin through advertising, which may or may not be in coordination with the candidate. Isn't that illegal? It should be, but it's not under Wisconsin law, thanks Governor Scott Walker. Politicians in Wisconsin are beholden to the millionaire and billionaire sugar daddy and sugar mamas that finance their campaigns. Time to make them beholden to we the people for People Corporation. Give your tax-deductible donation to the real patriots, the People for People Corporation, P for ppc.org, P, the number 4, ppc.org.
Pete's Fruit Market, a family-owned business serving Milwaukee for more than a generation, now has a brand new second location at the corner of North Avenue and Martin Luther King Drive in Milwaukee's Brunsville neighborhood. The new store is open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week and always features the freshest fruits and vegetables at the lowest prices. In addition to offering the best produce, Pete's Fruit Market is also a full-line grocery store featuring fresh meats and delicious deli items. Pete's Fruit Market, Milwaukee's best produce.
It's a lot easier to measure how many times students use a semicolon correctly in an essay.
Educated educators talking education.
Than it is to measure how many wonderful ideas are in that essay.
Busted Pencils.
There is no teacher shortage.
With Dr. Tim Slecker.
There is a teacher exit.
Featuring Matt Damon's mom.
You want to know what my mom would say?
We've had an intrusion into education.
Busted Pencils Radio. Saturdays at 11 on Resistance Radio.
You write the bill, then you release the bill.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2.
The Devil's Advocates, radio for the 99%.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio 1510 AM WRRD. Streaming live on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter at Devil Radio. And on the phone, you can join us anytime, 844-967-2789.
And Dominic, if you are super duper rich, it's going to be a good year for you. The tax cuts for the very wealthiest Americans have passed the House. The Senate voting tonight. Apparently, they don't even need John McCain's vote, Dom. They're going to do it without McCain. And Trump to sign it tomorrow. I'm sure it's all good stuff, and we just don't understand what's really there.
Well, they'll teach us, Crudy. I mean, it takes a little while.
Well, thank goodness they made that a priority over keeping the government open because, of course, the government's funding ends on Friday.
Yeah, we don't need to keep the government open. I mean, you know, it's the holidays. The government's going to be off anyway. I mean, if there's any time for the government to be off, wouldn't it be like over the Christmas holiday? Let everyone go home, spend time with the family.
Yeah, something like that. No double overtime that way, right?
Right, going to save lots of money.
Hey, Dom, we got a couple of fine guests joining us today. They both want to be part of the government, state, not federal in this case. Starting at 2:30, just a little while, we got Mike McCabe. He is a Dem gubernatorial candidate. You know, Mike McCabe of Blue Jean Nation. And then, Dom, in the 3 o'clock hour, we've got another fine Dem gubernatorial candidate, Andy Gronick. They're both making every effort to join us live in studio. Mike, I feel more confident about. Andy's in the midst of a travel, so hopefully he can make us part of his journey today, Dom. But either way, they will both join us.
All right.
On this fine program.
And Mike's walking in right now.
Yeah, there's Mike McCabe. Here's my question, Dom. Why in the hell should Democrats keep the government funding? Why should we give cover fire for Republicans that they got plenty of energy to get tax cuts for the rich, but they don't have the energy, they don't have the good sense to frickin' pass a bill to keep the government open beyond Friday? And if they send a clean continuing resolution, if they don't threaten to shut down Planned Parenthood and stick it to some part of the population.
Yes, a clean CR.
But if they don't stick anything awful in there, you know, to placate their worst notions, you know, garner Republican votes, if you will, Dom, then they probably don't have the votes. And therefore, it will fall to the Democrats to pull Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump's ass out of the fire. And I would wonder, why would we do that?
But here's the question. Are you pulling your political rival's ass out of the fire? Or are you pulling the American people's ass out of the fire? I mean, you got to ask yourself this question. Would anybody in that situation, as a Dem, if this was a continuing resolution, clean, put forth by Speaker Nancy Pelosi, would they vote for it?
Well, of course they would.
Okay, now, so the only reason you
but
wouldn't
the Republicans
would
wouldn't
be because you're mad at your political rivals. Are you not then playing politics and then not serving the constituency, not serving the American people?
Are we serving the American people by allowing these Republicans to have the keys of power, although they show little or no inclination to govern?
You got to win the elections, man. That's a separate. You got to deal with what you got.
So why would we give them electoral cover? Because if they, if their priorities are tax cuts for the rich and they don't know how to figure out keeping the government working, shouldn't the American people expose them for that? Shouldn't the American people become aware? Because not everyone follows as closely as our very smart audience. Now, not everyone knows that every machination of government is going on, and the Republicans don't know how to do any of this effectively. So if we, the Democrats, have to stand up, if Nancy Pelosi has to save the Republicans because they can't keep the government open again.
Are you saving Republicans or are you saving Americans?
Isn't it about, they never shut everything down anyways, right? Isn't that what Republicans always claim?
Yes.
I mean, if Donald Trump thinks it's good for him electorally, I say we give him what he wants. I say that Democrats, we just sit this one out. And we let the Republicans solve this problem anyway. I mean, they've got all the levers of power. Well, let them govern. And not just give tax cuts to the uber rich. Because they got that done today. They found time and energy for that. But I would say Democrats get out of their way and let them crash it. Because they're going to do that anyways. You might as well make it a public crash and burn. Let's stop giving them the cover they need. Let's stop keeping the government open when Republicans refuse to do so, because eventually there needs to be a consequence electorally. Yeah, we need to throw all the bums out, including Paul Ryan, certainly here in the state of Wisconsin, including Scott Walker. But I don't understand why we're the ones that always have to do the right things when Republicans never do the right thing for the American people, unless you mean the Koch brothers. Folks, we're the Devil's Advocates. Come back with us. Mike McCabe's joining us live in studio. He's amongst the people. He's a friend of ours. He's a Dem gubernatorial candidate. We are the Devil's Advocates, broadcasting live on Brady Street on WRRD, Wisconsin's only Resistance Radio.
Unexpected reactions to smart financial decisions, brought to you by feedthepig.org.
Well, I finally did it. I improved my credit score.
You're kidding, right?
No.
How are we supposed to be the bad boys of electro-synth pop if you're out there being responsible? The band is about to be discovered. This is our year.
Yeah, you've been saying that for a while now.
You think anyone in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was worried about their credit score?
I never really thought that.
Of course they weren't. Rock stars aren't supposed to think about that kind of stuff. We're supposed to think about how many guitars we've smashed, write aggressively sensitive power ballads, start questionable fashion trends, tragically break up and blame creative differences.
All right. I thought maybe it was time to take control of my finances, you know? Start using a budget, get out of debt, set some goals.
A budget? Debt? Set some goals? Listen, I knew that we'd have our creative differences, but I was hoping they'd involve a little more scandal.
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
The Stephanie Miller Show is on twice daily, 6 to 9 p.m. and midnight to 3 a.m. You can stream The Stephanie Miller Show and all of our fine programming on newstalk1510am.com.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property, or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009, or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
People are always looking to invest in a good opportunity. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change, called Better Futures. With your investment, it helps students like me go to college. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Dave, what are you doing?
Just sending a gift to Dave 2037.
Who?
Me in the future. I save a little money from every paycheck as a gift to Dave 2037, so he can spend it on things like anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman, something cool like that. I think Dave 2037 deserves it. He worked hard. What are you getting Steve 2037?
I guess I was thinking Steve 2037 would just fend for himself.
Well, all right, but don't expect to be borrowing my anti-gravity boots.
You want to have money in your future? You got to start saving now. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
Hey, let's just hope Steve 2037 doesn't get his hands on a cool time machine, because he is going to come back here and knock some sense into you.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Good afternoon. It is 2:32 for 1510 a.m. WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly with some local headlines for you. A judge says he should not have allowed Brad Schimmel to release some of the details of the investigation into Scott Walker and other Republicans. UW-Madison has already admitted its first batch of freshmen for next year, hoping to beat out the competition. A Milwaukee Catholic priest received a standing ovation from his congregation after telling them he was gay on Sunday. Another company has announced that they are moving from the suburbs to downtown Milwaukee, and overnight parking permits for the city of Milwaukee will be available starting tomorrow. LeBron James and Cleveland Cavaliers come to town tonight to take on the Bucks. Tonight, mostly clear, lows in the low 20s. Tomorrow, partly sunny, highs in the low 30s. Currently, it is 47 degrees and sunny in Milwaukee and 44 and sunny in Waukesha. For 1510 a.m. WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly.
I don't know if you know the Devil's Advocates, but they are kind of a big deal.
Money talks, but it don't sing and dance and it don't walk.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Got a fine guest, a friend of ours. He's live in our Brady Street studios. He is Mike McCabe, a Democratic gubernatorial candidate. Michael, welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show.
Thanks for having me. Hey, guys.
Mike. Hey, good to see you, man.
Hey, Mike, before
good to see you.
Forget to mention it, you got a little event going on in Milwaukee. You're kind of competing with our show tonight.
Sorry about that, guys.
How dare you?
So I can only listen for so long.
How dare you throw the Mike McCabe happy hour today and not invite us? Mike, where's your event tonight?
Solberman's on St. Paul Avenue.
Oh, yeah, Milwaukee Classic.
Yeah.
So you'll be throwing a little happy hour down at Sobelman's. We'll be doing this show till 5 o'clock, but Mike, I got to ask you, the headline of the day, GOP tax cuts for the very richest. I realize that's on a federal level, but Paul Ryan, he's out there in support, and Scott Walker's written op-eds in support of these tax cuts for the uber rich. I want to get your opinion, sir.
Horrible idea, and we've got the same kind of tax policies here on the state level. You combine all of the state and local taxes that we pay in Wisconsin, the top 1%, wealthiest 1% pays the lowest overall tax rate in Wisconsin. They pay the smallest percentage of their income in total state and local taxes. So exactly what's being thrown at us from Washington has been state policy here in Wisconsin as well. Feed the rich, hope that some of what they're given might work its way down to the rest of us. That's been the philosophy for decades now in Wisconsin. It's got to change.
Wanted get your input. I saw this sort of propaganda-driven survey by Wisconsin Manufacturers and Commerce, and they're polling Wisconsinites on 3 primary topics. Foxconn, what's the support? Now, understand, they're only asking business owners here in the state of Wisconsin, right. And amongst the business owners they ask, 63% of them are manufacturers. One must assume WMC members.
Correct.
But they're way up on the Foxconn deal. First and foremost, let's start with that. What do you think about the Foxconn deal? Business owners don't seemingly have a big issue with this massive incentive. Do you, sir?
Big business executives seem comfortable with it, but boy, you go around the state of Wisconsin, the farther you get away from southeastern Wisconsin, the more people are disgusted with this. And you know, the latest news is that $3 billion wasn't enough. Now there's got to be even more. And including taking money, road money, away from other parts of the state so that they can expand roads right by where Foxconn will be. So, you know, it's not just $3 billion.
What's another $134 million in a $4 billion deal, Mike?
Right.
Just a little more icing on the cake.
You know, people around the state are saying, yeah, we're going to have to pay our share of the cost, but we're not going to see our share of the benefit. It's not going to get to us. And so, boy, I tell you, this is not going over well with people around Wisconsin. Big business executives might be perfectly happy, but you go out and just talk to regular people. Go walk into some bar up in Taylor County or in Vernon County.
I've heard of Vernon County. I have no idea where Taylor County is.
Taylor County is actually not far from where I grew up in Clark County. It's a little north of there. Medford is the big town in Taylor County. And, you know, you just walk into any establishment and just start talking to people. And they have a pretty dim view of this. They don't have a lot of confidence that this is ever going to pay off for Wisconsin, and particularly it's never going to work its way up to them. It's never going to benefit their area, but they're on the hook for 25 years to pay for this thing.
Well, Mike, it's interesting. Again, back to this WMC survey of business owners, especially manufacturers. Well, you got to question any metric that would find a 72% approval rating for Donald Trump. But if you talk about the policies, at least according to surveyed Wisconsin business owners, from amongst the membership of WMC members that pay an effective 0.4% tax rate here in the state of Wisconsin, well, Mike, they're very happy with the leadership of Scott Walker. I suspect they're given some, let's call them kickbacks, some campaign donations. But if I didn't have to pay any taxes effectively, I might like the governor a little better as well. Mike, when we talk about the corporate massive giveaways in this newest federal bill, we've already tried that here in the state of Wisconsin in the manufacturing sector, and I don't think it's worked out very well for us.
It hasn't worked out. And obviously it's worked really well for them. The people who have been able to get these tax breaks and state subsidies showered on them, they love these policies. It's made them vastly wealthier. But it's also left Wisconsin at a point where we are dead last in the nation in new business startups, 3 years running. And we're leading the nation in shrinkage of the middle class. And we've got levels of economic inequality in Wisconsin that we haven't seen in this state since the Great Depression. And so, what we've seen is policies that have made the rich vastly richer, but it's making the middle class disappear. It's dividing those at the very top from the rest of us. And so the rest of us are looking at these policies and saying, how is this making our state better? How is this making our conditions better? And Foxconn's a great example of the corporate welfare approach to trying to create a sturdy economy. And it's a backward approach. Instead of trying to do it by feeding the rich, we should do it by empowering 5.5 million people in this state to do more for themselves and for their families and for each other and for our state. Put regular people in a position of being able to start a business. Put more money in the pockets of regular working people, and they have a habit of doing something that WMC members don't. They do what rich people often don't do. They spend it. They don't stash it in the Cayman Islands or in Bermuda in some tax haven. They don't just pad their net worth with it and take it out of circulation. They spend it, and somebody's got to sell what they want to buy, which stimulates the economy. So we can do way more by putting this money, investing this money in the empowerment of working people. And if we just boost wages substantially, low wages are a killer for the economy because it suppresses demand and it inhibits sales. You boost wages and people spend that money, and all of a sudden it makes business better, and people are selling more, and then they're buying from somebody else, and it improves their business, and there are ripple effects throughout the economy. So instead of trying to politically manufacture supply from the top down, we got to stoke demand from the bottom up.
Well, Mike, I think you're being a little inaccurate in this assessment. Scott
Tell
Walker,
me how.
in fact, generated like $750,000 in campaign donations from the lead-based paint industry. He turned around and gave them liability, shielded them from liability in the Wisconsin state budget. Some think it's corrupt. Some would call it quid pro quo. But you can't say he didn't gin up some economic activity. Mike, why wouldn't we think that this governor is not also ginning up perhaps millions or hundreds of millions of dollars in economic activity? Foxconn, through third-party coordinated campaigning with Scott Walker's own campaign. He's getting paid, is he not?
We'll find,
probably, allegedly.
And we'll find that out soon enough. As you know, I spent 50...
But not if they're giving it to Wisconsin Club for Growth or some other dark money third organization.
Well, as you guys know, for 15 years, I spent my energy and my time trying to track and expose the money in politics. And sometimes it took us a long time to figure out how that money was being funneled, but we would often be able to shine light on it, and I think we'll soon enough know. But it'll take us a while, and it might even be after the 2018 election. But of course you're right. These are sweet deals for those who are in a position to govern our state and hand out these kinds of benefits and shower tax breaks and state subsidies on a few, because it It fuels the campaign contributions that then keep them in office. And this transactional politics is good for the politicians who engage in it, and it's good for the recipients. But the losers are regular people in this state who don't have decent representation. Their voices aren't heard, and they don't have policy being made at the Capitol that benefits them in the least. And still the reality, after all of these transactions, after all these deals are struck, and all the campaign donations flow into those striking the deals, we're still left with a state dead last in new business startups. We're lagging badly in the number of jobs that we have in this state. We're leading the nation in shrinkage of the middle class. Don't
forget the roads, Mike. Don't forget the potholes. Except for that little stretch going into Foxconn. They'll have shiny new roads.
And they want special lanes for the driverless trucks, so that just to accommodate them. And at the expense of a whole bunch of small towns out there that can't afford to keep filling their potholes. And I talked to a local town chairman in rural Rock County who told me that at current funding levels in their township, it would take 200 years to make the necessary repairs to their roads. So they are looking at digging up pavement and putting down gravel, because who can have a 200-year plan for road repair? But at their current funding level, that's how long it would take to make their repairs.
My understanding, tax cuts for the richest in this newest federal bill, well, they go for 200 years.
Yeah.
We are the Devil's Advocates on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, 1510 AM WRRD. You got Mike McCabe, a gubernatorial candidate. He's a Democrat. He's in studio with us. Mike, with regards to the state of Wisconsin and how it reflects, the national conversation right now, we talked about the manufactured egg tax credit. They pay essentially zero tax rate, but we haven't seen a whole lot of hiring going on in manufacturing. In fact, we lost thousands of jobs last year, and I believe we're down again perhaps this year. I don't want to quote that, but the trend is not what they say it's going to be on the national level. Now you take that and you see the crony capitalist, picking winners and losers, pulling this money out, and then I have to wonder, why do we have a net negative migration? Why do the millennials, why do people who grow up in the state want to leave it so badly? Do you think that a different governor with different policies would turn those things around? And of course, you also mentioned last in the country in entrepreneurship. I mean, people want to have to stay here and invest here, not just invest their money, but their soul, their time, the culture. There's a lot that Wisconsin has to offer, yet we seem to be continually lagging behind all of our neighbors, despite what the Republicans will tell you is successful policy here in Wisconsin.
That manufacturing tax credit you mentioned, the biggest recipients, it boils down to 11 multimillionaires who get the biggest tax break under that. Most jobs actually come from small businesses, not these giant corporations, and the people who are able to take advantage of that are the multimillionaires. But the point you bring up is a really important one. If we want young people to want to live here, we've got to invest in the quality of life in Wisconsin. And they want a state that takes climate change seriously, and we've got a state that has scrubbed any mention of climate change off the website of the agency responsible for safeguarding our environment. And they want things like high-speed rail. And Wisconsin has said hell no to any development of that kind of transportation. There are a lot of young people who don't really want cars anymore. In fact, you talk to some young...
It's a sharing economy now.
And so they want transportation alternatives, and Wisconsin has said no. They want climate change taken seriously. Wisconsin has said no. They want affordable education and job training, and we bury young people under a mountain of debt. And I've taken a position, as you guys know, I'm in favor of full legalization of marijuana, and we should tax the legal sales of marijuana, and then plow that money into investing in the quality of life in Wisconsin and improving conditions and empowering regular people in our state. We do those things, and this is going to be a state young people will want to stay in and live here and be rooted in.
They've said it with regards to the marijuana policy and the tax policy and the regulation, enforcement, etc. We got to see what happens in Colorado. It's been many years now. Is there any reason not to go forward with this in your mind?
The people are ready for it. The politicians have been afraid of it, but I think the people are ready, and what it requires is some leadership from the Capitol.
You know, Mike, I got a quick question. You know, I can understand why Dominic would be so confused about the manufacturing numbers because the Department of Workforce Development claims in 2016 we were number 1 in the Midwest, number 14 in the nation for manufacturing job growth. But then when you actually see the large survey numbers come out, we in fact lost manufacturing jobs in the state of Wisconsin after the full implementation of the manufacturing and agribusiness tax credit, effectively 0% tax rates for manufacturers. I'm going to come back and talk about Governor Scott Walker effectively using state agencies as propaganda sources to try and make his point. I'd like to talk about another one, my new tax bill with the 100% reduction in state aid, except my taxes still went up. Let's talk about those two quick points when we come back. More of the Devil's Advocates live on Brady Street. Our friend Mike McCabe running as a Democrat for governor here in the state of Wisconsin.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
When Wisconsin Republican Brad Schimmel,
I don't have a lot of expertise,
decided to run for Wisconsin Attorney General,
I don't even know my own website address.
Even some conservatives questioned his ability.
You can always say no to a request for an interview, and I kind of wish Mr. Schimmel had said no. I don't think he was ready for that.
Schimmel claims to be all about law and order.
You start with the default position that yes, you will enforce the laws.
Apparently, even if that means enforcing a 1960s-style ban on interracial marriage.
It might be distasteful to me, but I've got to stay consistent with that as the state's lawyer. It's not my job to pick and choose.
Wisconsin deserves a competent attorney general.
We've got to go.
Yes, Brad Schimmel, you do got to go. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org. I was on Zero Res Madison's Facebook page the other day, and they have almost 2,000 testimonials from local customers. Apparently, I am not the only one stoked on how cool this company is. A green technology that actually works better and doesn't cost more, it's a no-brainer, I'm in. We are starting our own Devil's Advocates revolution to free your carpets from harsh chemicals and soaps. Call Zero Res today and ask for the Diamond Crude Special 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
When you need an attorney, trust the voice of experience, the only choice, Lawton and Cates.
I needed an attorney because I was injured at work. I wanted to find a reputable attorney. The results that I got with Lawton and Cates were very good. I'm very happy with the way I was treated and the end result that I got.
Trust the voice of experience. Call the attorneys at Lawton and Cates, 282-6200, 282-6200.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call a number on the for sale sign?
Great question. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you the home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner to buy that house at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust.
Like you?
Like me. I will find the home that best fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from the offer through closing day. And the best part is that the buyer doesn't have to pay a dime for me to represent them.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
Hi, I'm Anton Capella. As Chief Technology Officer at Five Nines, it's my job to make sure your network is up 99.999% of the time. Technology is constantly evolving, and keeping your business up to date in an ever-changing environment can be a hassle. At Five Nines, we're here to help. Five Nines is more than just our name. It's the level of service you can expect. Better IT gives your business a competitive advantage. Learn how Five Nines can help at fivenines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
The Devil's Advocates, the fix for political junkies everywhere.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio 1510 AM WRRD. If you miss any of this fine program, please go to the website domandcroot.com. You can download interviews and podcasts.
Dom, we've got a Dem gubernatorial candidate. He's our friend Mike McCabe from Blue Jean Nation. Live in studio, I'm Brady. Mike, I was complaining as we went to break. And
he always does that.
Pretty much throughout the course of the break, that the Walker administration really uses its Department of Workforce Development as a propaganda arm. And here's what I mean. You know, we talk about the manufacturing jobs in the state of Wisconsin. The the Department of Workforce Development, Reggie Newsom, Scott Walker's cabinet secretary, was claiming in January of 2017 that last year Wisconsin was best in the Midwest, number 14th overall in new manufacturing jobs created. You know, no small thanks to this tax giveaway to manufacturers. But when the trailing survey comes out 6 months later, we in fact find out Wisconsin lost 3,800 jobs, $400 million in manufacturing wage. So one must suspect that Newsom and Walker knew that the numbers weren't as good as the small surveys might be reflective of. How can he use an administrative secretary as propaganda and be so far off on the numbers, Michael? And would you, if elected governor, promise to give us nothing but straightforward numbers as they are presented to you, sir?
Well, people obviously deserve a straight story. You know, and this kind of playing with numbers and trying to paint a happy picture when the picture's in fact pretty bleak is offensive. And it's not like this is the first time that people in elected office have tried to use the instruments of government to advantage them politically. It's just that this governor has a hell of a lot more reason to have to stoop to these levels, because the fundamental story is a dreary one. You know, it's hard to make it seem like a happy story when your state has levels of economic inequality rivaling those of the Great Depression, when we're leading the nation in shrinkage of the middle class, when we're dead last in new business startups, when we have lost manufacturing jobs. Here we've provided this huge manufacturing tax break. And what do we get for it? We get a loss of manufacturing employment in Wisconsin. So they're saying we need to do this to make manufacturing vibrant again in Wisconsin. And then a few years later, the story is actually that, well, we're continuing to lose manufacturing jobs. So they obviously have way more motive to spin and to spin people dizzy, to just keep people spinning so fast that they can't tell what the truth is, and it's because their policies are a miserable failure. And I think we've talked about this before. I've actually taken the position that we should abolish the state's corporate welfare office. We should get rid of the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation and repurpose that money to a much more constructive purpose. And, you know, because that agency exists for one sole purpose, and that's to prompt new business startups. And yet for 3 straight years, we're dead last in the nation in new business startups. When an agency fails in its purpose that miserably, you get rid of it. You know, there should be that rule in government that if a program works, you fund it. If a program doesn't work, you get rid of it, and you use the money for a better use.
Mike, also talking about spin, I got my newest property tax bill, and although the net property taxes are up hundreds of dollars, Scott Walker gets to claim he cut my state taxes down to zero. Well, it was like a $49 column on my taxes. It says big and bold, minus 100%. But ultimately, my taxation went up.
Yep.
Every other column went up.
Yep.
Mike, what about this newest claim the governor's eliminated our state property taxes? Is that even a big deal to most people? $50 is not a life changer for me.
I don't know if most people have even looked at what the state property tax part of the property tax bill is. It's really a local property tax bill. But state aid to schools, to local governments. That has a huge impact on what your property tax bill ends up looking like. And of course, billions have been cut from schools over the years, and that has put upward pressure on property taxes and decimated funding for our schools. And overall, property taxes aren't coming down; they're going up. That's the bottom line. That's the reality. And so what you're experiencing, all I can say, Mike, is you're not alone.
Mike McCabe, our good buddy. Good luck, sir. We will wish you well at your big event at Solomons, the happy hour with Mike McCabe, beginning at 4 to 5:30. That's down on St. Paul Ave. Thanks, Mike McCabe. More Devil's Advocates after this short break.
Our economy's on fire.
I wish you weren't a liar.
Pete's Fruit Market, a family-owned business serving Milwaukee for more than a generation, now has a brand new second location at the corner of North Avenue and Martin Luther King Drive in Milwaukee's Brunsville neighborhood. The new store is open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week and always features the freshest fruits and vegetables at the lowest prices. In addition to offering the best produce, Pete's Fruit Market is also a full-line grocery store featuring fresh meats and delicious deli items. Pete's Fruit Market, Milwaukee's best produce.
Hi, I'm Crudy. I'm here with my friend Tom Alonzi, Principal Officer with Teamsters Local 200. Tom, why are you union strong, Teamster strong?
Well, because, Crudy, the Teamsters are the most powerful labor union in North America with 1.4 million members, standing together for better wages, benefits, and working conditions at their respective places of work.
Tom, what are the unions going to do for the next generation?
The same things we Teamsters have done for the generations before them, Crudy. Give them respect, dignity, and representation with a legal binding contract with their employer, not just the empty promises of an ever-changing employee handbook.
Tom, if people want to know more about the unions or joining the Teamsters, what do they do?
Well, Crudy, they can simply call Teamsters Local 200 at 414-771-6363 and say, I'd like to know more about becoming a Teamster. Or they can go to our website at teamsterslocal200.com.
Be union strong. Stand with Teamsters Local 200, like News Talk 1510 AM, and your friend Crudy.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order in classic corner tavern. You are listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, WRRD, 1510 AM, Waukesha, Milwaukee.
On to the Senate. A big cleanup. I'm Rich Johnson. Republicans are celebrating House package of the tax overhaul bill and have begun debate on it. But top Senate Democrat Chuck Schumer says his party will be celebrating come Election Day.
This tax bill will be an anchor around the ankles of every Republican. If they haven't learned it yet, they're going to learn it next November.
Now, the White House prays for the House vote and another estimate of how it might affect Donald Trump, the taxpayer, and Trump, the company.
Minutes after the House vote, White House spokeswoman Sarah Sanders handling questions about who benefits and who loses, since the president has at times claimed the bill would be bad for him.
We expect that it likely will, certainly on the personal side, could cost the president a lot of money.
From a business standpoint, though, the Trump Organization's vast real estate holdings will likely save millions of dollars each year. Sanders was pressed on whether Mr. Trump will ever release his tax returns for a check of his claim, and she reiterated his taxes are under audit, as has been said for more than a year. Bob Costantini, Capitol Hill.
The Senate's scheduled to vote on the bill after a few more hours of debate. Passengers from 2 Royal Caribbean cruise ships were aboard a bus involved in a fatal crash in eastern Mexico. 12 people are dead, 7 injured. No word on identities or if they were all from the cruise ships. Crews south of Tacoma, Washington are well into the very huge job of removing those derailed Amtrak train cars from the road, the trestle, and the nearby forest around Interstate 5.
It takes 2 tractor trailers to move it, and with the trailer itself is over 270 feet in length, and it's probably going to be wider than 1 lane, possibly into 2 lanes.
Washington State Patrol Captain Dan Hall, the death toll from yesterday's derailment remains at 3, with more than 70 injured. At the close of business, the Dow is down about 16 points, the NASDAQ down 31. Apple stock fell by 1% after a downgrade of its stock. I'm Rich Johnson.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
Grass-fed, locally raised.
Tom Perez, chairman of the Democratic National Committee.
Hey, great to be with you. And since I spoke last, I went to my first game at Camp Randall. So
all right.
I was very excited.
Well, I feel quite confident that was a victory as my team's undefeated, Tom.
Hey, I agree. Our team, you should say. My daughter's there at Madison.
Oh, that's right.
It was a great day.
Happy
Great
Badgers.
Day.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 AM, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
More revelations about what the head of the EPA is spending for security, just for his office.
The Associated Press reports Scott Pruitt, the administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency, spent nearly $9,000 to have his office swept for hidden listening devices and bought sophisticated biometric locks for additional security. Pruitt had already spent $25,000 on a custom-made soundproof privacy booth that he added to his office in order to keep people from eavesdropping on his phone calls. That purchase is the subject of an EPA Inspector General's investigation. A spokesman for the agency said the security was necessary because Pruitt has been the target of an unprecedented amount of threats against him. John Stolness, Washington.
McDonald's is going to test market a vegan hamburger in Sweden and Finland. The patty's made of soy, the sauce does not contain eggs, and yes, it will be known as the McVegan burger. McDonald's has sold a beefless burger in India for years. I'm Rich Johnson.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her.
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Keep a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Good afternoon. It is 3:05 for 1510 AM, WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly. The judge says he should not have allowed Brad Schimmel to release some of the details of the investigation into Scott Walker and other Republicans. Jefferson County Circuit Judge William Hughes said he should have blacked out some names because charges were not brought against those individuals. First John Joe investigation did result in the convictions of 6 aides and associates of Governor Walker during his time as Milwaukee County executive. Tonight mostly clear, lows in the low 20s. Tomorrow partly sunny, highs in the low 30s. And Thursday there's a chance of snow accumulating up to an inch, highs in the mid 30s. Currently it's 47 degrees and sunny in Milwaukee. And it's 44 degrees and sunny in Waukesha. For 1510 AM, WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly. The Devil's Advocates continues right now.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me
to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back. Hour 2 of the Devil's Advocates radio show. Dominic would like to thank our most recent guest, Mike McCabe. He's running as a Democrat for the gubernatorial, for the governorship, I guess. I get these terms confused sometimes.
A gubernatorial candidate.
I hate to call him a Dem because I don't know if he perceives himself to be as a Dem, but he is running as a Dem. And we've got another Dem that's joining us, hopefully live in studio, but certainly it will be at 3:30 today. Andy Gronick, Milwaukee area businessman. Andy Gronick, 3:30. And Dom, there's another Wisconsin Dem gubernatorial announcement. Finally, somebody said no.
You can say no? I didn't know.
Now, I don't really know who this human being is. I had heard the name bantered about. I had seen a few publications, sponsored pieces on Facebook. But Sheboygan businessman Kurt Kober has given up his plans to run as a Democratic candidate for Wisconsin governor, intentions he announced back in August. Now Kober is planning to run as a Democratic candidate for lieutenant governor next year. Here's the quote. I'm excited to be running for lieutenant governor because this previously under-the-radar position allows me to bring my well-rounded background to a platform and role that allows me to focus on making key changes to bring Wisconsin into the new economy, Kober posted online this week. And in addition, Kober said he would make an official announcement about the change of heart next month. He is already accepting donations online, although it doesn't appear that he is registered as a candidate with the state.
All right, there you go. Crudy, I do have to
So somebody said no.
Our friend Mike McCabe.
Yes.
First met Mike, Wisconsin Democracy Campaign?
Yeah, 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, it's been that long. Counting the money in politics. Now, he's running as a Dem, and as you mentioned, he's not, I guess, officially, a party-paying Dem, or he wasn't, at least when he was in those organizations. I mean,
he had some consternation that the State Democratic Party was not providing him with the voter list for Democratic voters.
Right, I get that. But do you think, when you say he's not a Dem, Bernie's not a Dem.
In the same way, yeah.
In the same way. But okay, but I don't want any insinuation to be out there that, perhaps he would caucus with the Republicans if he were to win. Do you think there's policy issues that he agrees with Republicans?
My understanding is Mike's got a little bit of a bipartisan background, but no, I can't imagine, certainly not with this current batch of Republicans. Right. I don't think he's going to go lobby for more tax cuts for the rich and, more campaign corruption here in the state of Wisconsin. That seemingly is the Republican agenda. So, no, I don't think, at least on those points, we got to worry about our buddy Mike caucusing with the Republicans. Now, much like Bernie Sanders never declared himself a Dem until he, I would say, appropriated the term Democratic Socialist for his run for presidency. Of course, you got to pick a party. We got sort of a bicameral system in this nation. Libertarians, sorry guys.
Come on.
But it never seems to work out for you guys.
1.5%, 2%.
So, he's being pragmatic. He's doing the math, and he realizes you got to join one of the two major parties, or at least you must run as a candidate thereof if you have any hope to win. But, I don't mean to mischaracterize Mike, because he didn't start as a Dem and decide to run. He started as a guy who cares a lot about the state of Wisconsin, who then chose to run as a Democrat. I'm going to draw a small distinction there.
All right, fair enough, man. Just want to be clear.
Let's talk about Brad Schimmel, Tom.
Hashtag Schimmel bashing. It's so easy to do these days. Thank you, Brad, for coming back in the spotlight here the last couple of weeks.
Well, our friend Bruce Murphy from the online daily urbanmilwaukee.com lays out the 17
count them
17 biggest mistakes by Brad Schimmel, and the subheadline, media feasting on problems in the John Doe report. Here's a scoreboard on the biggest goofs. Perhaps not a comprehensive list, but the 17 biggest mistakes made by Brad Schimmel. It was back on December 6th that Attorney General Brad Schimmel released his report on the John Doe probe that condemned the investigators and called for contempt of court proceedings against 9 officials involved in the probe. The media duly reported his findings. Urban Milwaukee, meanwhile, offered 2 columns here and here, finding huge problems with the Department of Justice report, including the fact that Schimmel disclosed the names of people investigated in the secret probe, but never charged, names that never would have been revealed if the state's top legal officer hadn't done so. That's not even on the list, is it, Dom? That led the Wisconsin State Journal to look into problems with Schimmel's report, verifying some of the issues noted by Urban Milwaukee, and soon the rest of the media jumped aboard. In short, it's become increasingly clear that the DOJ report is one huge screw-up, kind of like the Attorney General and the governor, for that matter, but a very complicated one. So, to make it easier to understand just how ridiculous this report is, we present our scoreboard of the worst errors by the Attorney General, more or less in reverse order, starting with the least egregious. They are, I'm going to start with number 17, Dom, claiming investigators were doing opposition research. That's right. Lawyers for the Government Accountability Board, run by a bipartisan board of retired judges, I think it was 3 Dems, 3 Republicans, Dom, were supposedly doing opposition research on Republicans. The proof for this is a file labeled opposition research that Schimmel's team found. But these folders were labeled that way when they were received by the GAB. Former staff told Schimmel something the report left out, Dom.
Number 16, defaming Sonia Rice. The report,
Bice.
I'm sorry, Bice. Sorry about this, Sonia. The report offers a footnote suggesting Sonia Bice, who once worked as an aide to a state Supreme Court justice, informed her husband, Journal Sentinel reporter Dan Bice, of an unannounced visit to the court by the DOJ. But the visit occurred some 16 months after Sonia Bice's job there ended, so no, Schimmel never checked this with her.
And do you know what Sonia Bice did at the Wisconsin Supreme Court? She worked for former
Republican, right?
She worked for former Justice Patrick Crooks.
Oh, that's right, Crooks, yes.
He's dead.
He passed away in office.
She didn't continue to work there after his death. I mean, Schimmel, you can look in the obituaries. You could set a timeline on this one. Let's keep going. Defaming Shirley Abrahamson, the former chief, Dom. I knew that they were up to no good when they changed the process for the Chief Justice. You thought, no big deal. You know, the court should be able to pick their Chief Justice. You know why we've got half the John Doe problems we do? Because of the constitutional amendment that stripped Shirley Abrahamson from her rightful place as the Chief Justice. But I read, defaming Shirley Abrahamson. That would be Supreme Court Justice Abrahamson, one of the longest-serving such judges in America. Schimmel suggests there was something nefarious about her checking on some of the John Doe evidence without specifying what she did wrong or bothering to check with her. As she states, my only involvement was to make sure the boxes were sealed and a log had been checked, she told the Journal Sentinel. At no time did I review the contents of those sealed boxes. Seems like a small falsehood.
Yeah, but if you're
one of 17 or more,
if you're a Republican partisan hack like Wisconsin's Attorney General Brad Schimmel, you will do anything you can to cast a little shade. You know, Shirley Abrahamson, she's the wicked witch of the West to the Republican base. I'll continue. Number 14, Crudy, defaming Brian Bell and David Berger. Schimmel's report calls out 2 members of the State Ethics Commission uncooperative because they dared to hire a lawyer when questioned by DOJ investigators. That's right. A lawyer is complaining about someone hiring an attorney. Worse, it was the bipartisan Ethics Commission board that decided Bell and Berger should have representation, the commission noted. But Schimmel, he doesn't care. Oh, look, they must have something to hide. They got attorneys. Because
you know, it wasn't
the
until
asked them to.
When they were going to give testimony together and Bell was able to act as attorney for Berger, there was no request for outside counsel. It was only until they were interrogated that they sought separate legal representation. I read on. Number 13, making unwarranted attacks on the state's ethics commission. That's the new one, not the old one, Dom. The report claims commission staff withheld evidence and didn't report the leak of secret John Doe materials to the media after it occurred. But as the commission's bipartisan letter to Schimmel has noted, Our staff promptly provided all requested records and couldn't possibly have leaked materials as they never had access to the information.
Number 12, refusing to correct claims about the Ethics Commission. Schimmel hasn't contested several corrections offered by the bipartisan commission, yet has refused to correct the report, declaring the Wisconsin Department of Justice stands by the Attorney General's report. In short, Schimmel stands behind himself.
I wonder if he gives himself a reach around.
He doesn't have the common courtesy.
I tell you what, when we come back, we'll move on. The 17, biggest falsehoods, biggest mistakes, biggest lies of Brad Schimmel in this newest John Doe report. We'll come back to your girl, Leah Vukmir.
Ah, Leah.
And the phony attack that Schimmel concocted against her. I'm not all clear that Leah Vukmir was much more than a footnote in history until Brad Schimmel gave her what, something to run on?
Everybody should be asking Leah Vukmir, did you ever campaign while you were working as a representative of the government?
We should have gone to the luncheon. That was earlier today. Yeah. You could have asked that question.
Come on, man. You could have gone there, too.
Folks, we have the Devil's Advocates come back with us. Looks like Andy Gronig made it to town. That's excellent. He's just on time. We'll be right back. We'll finish with the Schimmel bashing. Then Andy Gronig, live in studio on Brady Street, gubernatorial candidate. More Devil's Advocates, WRRD 1510 AM.
Was either a certified genius or an authentic wacko. The level of stupidity is incredible.
Scott Walker thinks Wisconsin should once again hire him as governor.
You wouldn't hire me to be a neurosurgeon.
This is a person who has not worked in the private sector since 1993.
You wouldn't hire me to run condos. You wouldn't hire me to run HP.
And has made his political career.
You probably wouldn't hire me to run the United States Senate.
By using divisive tactics to the benefit of his corporate donors.
First step is we're going to deal with collective bargaining for all public employee unions. Because you divide and conquer.
Now he supports the largest publicly funded government subsidy of a foreign corporation in American history.
You know, they can go suck lemons.
And Scott Walker has yet to live up to his first campaign promise to create 250,000 jobs.
Is this a campaign promise? Something you want to be held to?
Absolutely.
Scott Walker, we the people are done sucking your lemons. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Hi, this is Brad Saug, owner of Zero Res Madison Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is the best new technology in carpet cleaning. We have a patented process using empowered water, a high-tech process in which we force the water to act like soap. It doesn't want to stay in that state. It's jacked up and it's angry and it wants to hit the dirt and then it neutralizes. When we're done, all that's left in your carpet is just light moisture. In the end, you get the cleanest, greenest, healthiest carpet cleaning available. Call us at 848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it backward or forward. It's the right way to clean.
Tune in to The Resistance, Monday through Friday beginning at 7 a.m. on News Talk 1510 a.m. From 7 to 9, it's The Earl Ingram Show. From 9 to 11, take a deep dive into Milwaukee news and Wisconsin politics on 414 Wisconsin with Brian Kelly and Daryl Ingram. The Tom Hartman program is next from 11 to 2. Then from 2 to 5, it's The Devil's Advocates with Dom and Crute. Join The Resistance, News Talk 1510 a.m. WRRD.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
Hi, I'm Anton Capella, Chief Technology Officer at Five Nines. Five Nines is more than just our name. It's the level of service you can expect. We provide 99.999% uptime. That's the highest availability and performance you can get. You have enough to worry about with your business data, web, security, and cloud services, so we'll manage your IT so you don't have to. Visit 5nines.com. That's the number 5, N-I-N-E-S.com.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
People are always looking to invest in a good opportunity. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change, called Better Futures. With your investment, it helps students like me go to college. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates. They refuse to do math on the radio.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio 1510 AM WRRD. Streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, on Twitter at Devil Radio, and on the phones 844-967-2789.
Dom, we're doing Brad Schimmel's 17 biggest mistakes. Very generous telling, according to our friend Bruce Murphy, Urban Milwaukee Online Daily. And if we're down to number 11, how many have we done, Dom?
6. We do math on the air.
Are you sure?
Don't ask me again.
We didn't read 6 yet. Let's get to number 11, concocting a phony attack on Leah Vukber. The report waxes indignant about the Doe investigators going through the private emails of Republican state senator allegedly for no reason. Oh. But as Data One columnist Bruce Thompson noted, the emails in question appeared to be part of the John Doe 1 investigation, which resulted in 6 convictions. You know, the righties never seem to acknowledge the 6 convictions for felonies that come out of the John Doe 1, Dom. But I read on. Oh, Scott Walker triggered that. Yeah, when the guy he appointed head of a charity that he set up was embezzling money from the veterans, and they said, where's our money? At some point, he had to turn it over to law enforcement. So, you know, he was always on the right side of that issue.
When he had to
But let me read on. Bruce Thompson in the Data Wonk notes the emails in question appear to be a part of the John Doe 1 investigation, which resulted in 6 convictions and were probably office emails of Vukber's assistant, Josh Hosington, which were checked in part of the email thread in that investigation. Retired Judge Neil Nettesheim, who oversaw the John Doe 1 investigation, told the State Journal, and here's a quote, Dom, I was satisfied at the time and remained satisfied that all the areas that were probed in the John Doe 1 were legitimate and proper, and Schimmel offers no reason to dispute this, Tom.
Number 10, refusing to disclose the costs of the probe. Schimmel's office hasn't responded to Urban Milwaukee's request to reveal the cost of his office's 11-month investigation and has yet to disclose this to anyone in the media.
Dom, Schimmel also claimed that the John Doe had no discernible limit to prove how broad the probe was. Schimmel lists 218 examples of search warrants and subpoenas. But if search warrants or subpoenas were issued, they were approved by judges and obviously legal. Schimmel's report offers not one example of an investigatory probe not pre-approved by the judge.
Number 8, mixing up files of different investigation. The report created a list of information that mixed up at least 3 different probes, not bothering to distinguish between Doe 1, Doe 2, and investigations of campaign finance irregularities by the GAB.
Number 6, falsely claiming there was a John Doe 3 probe. Schimmel actually made up this name, made it up to describe the GAB investigation of potential campaign finance violations that he didn't understand. As the Wisconsin State Journal has reported, this was a 16-month GAB investigation that concluded in March of 2013 after finding no violations of law and which had nothing to do with the John Doe probe.
Number 5, wrongly claiming GAB attorneys didn't understand election law. Considering Schimmel didn't understand the duties of the GAB, that's rich, but it becomes downright hilarious when you consider his proof. because the Wisconsin Supreme Court later ruled against the John Doe probe and concluded a campaign was free to collude with independent advocacy groups. The Doe probe therefore misinterpreted the law. But during the entire time the Doe probe was conducted, the law in Wisconsin, as it was then understood and continues to be interpreted in most states, that such collusion was illegal. Indeed, the Doe probe was a bipartisan investigation conducted by Special Prosecutor Francis Smith, a longtime Republican who voted for Walker in the 2012 recall, including 2 Republican district attorneys helping the investigation, and involved work by 4 judges, 3 of whom had Republican backgrounds. Apparently, they all didn't understand the law, Crudy.
Number 4, not enforcing the law equally against all leakers. The entire point of Schimmel's investigation was to enforce the law against leaking information in violation of court order, and yet he refused to investigate Conservative Club for Growth leader Eric O'Keefe, who leaked the information to the press. We've talked about that one. Dom, help me with a couple more.
Number 3, accusing people of contempt of court without proof. Of course, Schmitz and former GAB executive Kevin Kennedy.
Dom, he violated the secrecy order himself.
What?
Schimmel's report listed the names of 35 people who had been investigated by the John Doe 1 and 2, and all but a few of these names have never been revealed to the public. Hell, Judge Hughes said he should never have let Schimmel release the names, Dom.
And number 1, conducting a completely unnecessary investigation with no discernible limits. The public certainly didn't care what materials leaked to The Guardian revealed about how campaign of Governor Walker colluded with supposedly independent groups. The Supreme Court, which was most concerned with guarding the secrecy of the Doe information, declined to authorize an investigation of the leaks. But Schimmel went ahead anyway and released an angry report concocted so indiscriminately that it violated the Doe secrecy order. Following the logic of Schimmel's report, the Attorney General should now be investigated.
Bruce Murphy, urban Milwaukee comeback, Andy Gronick, Dem gubernatorial candidate, joins us live on Brady.
What would you say you do here?
I'm not going to work here anymore anyway.
That's a great idea. Okay, how do we do that?
Rich is just a really good guy. The term good egg isn't enough to describe him. He's also certified organic and free range. Rich puts the cap back on everything. The toothpaste, the olive oil, the shampoo, everything. He lets his 10-year-old nephew beat him at virtual tennis, even though he can straight up slay his 10-year-old nephew in virtual tennis. When the toilet paper is running low, Rich replaces the roll on the actual holder, not just on the back of the toilet. Rich is texting and driving. Rich, no. What are you doing, Rich? I was just telling everyone how great you are. Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
This is the People's Sheriff. I need you to keep listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, WRRD, 1510 AM, Waukesha, Milwaukee. Can I count on you?
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
Going through divorce is a very emotional time in someone's life, and when I went through my first divorce, I really needed someone to help me through the legal aspects of what my rights were. That's why I got in contact with Lawton & Cates.
The attorneys at Lawton & Cates. It's who you turn to for legal advice. 282-6200 or lawtoncates.com.
When you need an attorney, trust the voice of experience. The only choice, Lawton & Cates.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Did you just look down at your phone?
You did it. You know, you're flying down the road in a 3-ton hunk of steel, and a text takes your eyes off the road for an average of 5 seconds. At 55 miles per hour, that's long enough to travel the length of a football field and cause some serious damage. Turn it off. Trust me, whatever it is, you'll live.
Learn more at StopTextsStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Good afternoon. It is 3:32 for 1510 a.m. WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly with some local headlines for you. UW-Madison has already admitted its first batch of freshmen for next year, hoping to beat out the competition. A Milwaukee Catholic priest received a standing ovation from his congregation after telling them he was gay on Sunday. A judge says he should not have allowed. He has announced that overnight parking permits for the city of Milwaukee will be available starting tomorrow. LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers come to town tonight to take on the Bucks. Tonight, mostly clear, lows in the low tomorrow, partly sunny, highs in the low 30s. And Thursday, there's a chance of snow, accumulating up to an inch, highs in the mid-30s.
To call in, we always do in this very erroneous and slipshod report run out by the former, well, I guess he's still the current Attorney General. I look forward to him being the former Attorney General.
Yes.
But I want to get your impression of not just the leaks, but also the corruption contained. The corruption that was being investigated, the convictions in the John Doe 1 and the subsequent shutdown of the John Doe 2. It's a lot of, sort of a big mouthful, but take a couple bites at it.
Yeah.
What do you think, Andy?
Well, I think that, listen, everybody wants there to be integrity in a process. Leaking documents is not what you want from any organization. But the fact of the matter is that these documents did produce themselves. And they did demonstrate that large donors were giving money to the Republican Party, and guys like Scott Walker were ultimately the benefactors of that. And as a result, we're passing laws in the state of Wisconsin that make it easier for lead paint manufacturers to do business in our state. And that's not the intent. That's not who we are as a state. That's not who we want to be. And we certainly want to understand when our politicians are making decisions because you have special interests that are contributing a lot of money that help them get elected.
But Andy, when Scott Walker says open for business, this is exactly the type of business he means. And I would say it's not just the $750,000 and shielding lead-based paint manufacturers from liability. It was also Gogebic Taconite giving over $1 million, because Scott Walker asked, through the third-party coordinated campaigning of Wisconsin Club for Growth. And he turned around, he gave him SB1, AB1, the mining bill. It's not an isolated incident. There's ongoing examples of Scott Walker's quid pro quo corruption, sir. Your thoughts?
It's not isolated, and that has become business as usual and is open for business state. I mean, in the end, we want to make sure that we're bringing the kinds of companies to our state that will grow, that will create good-paying, family-sustaining jobs, and at the same time respect our environment. So these big payoffs that ultimately somehow find their way into the Republican Party and ultimately into Scott Walker's pocket for re-election are not representing the best interests of the people of our state or of the environment in our state. So if it's possible to create the situation where politicians are willing to cast votes that will allow our lands, our waters, our lakes, our streams to be polluted so that it's easier for mining operations to do business in the state, that's just plain wrong.
Well, Andy, you're a businessman. I perceive myself as a businessman, but I never bribed me a politician. I never even considered doing so.
I didn't know you could do it so cheaply.
Well, in the case of Scott Walker and BCI in Minahan, guy gave him $10,000. He got back $500,000 unsecured, paid off his Maserati. But I'm less concerned about the small malfeasance as this Foxconn deal. We're $3 billion from the state, about $1 billion from the local. Now we find out we're going to see, money diverted from the roads to build new roads for Foxconn, another $134 million on the tab. Well, Andy, how do we know that Foxconn, this foreign corporation, are not giving dark money, anonymous contributions to third parties to the tune of millions of dollars to help Scott Walker get reelected?
We really don't know. Ultimately, all of that will unfold with time. But like so many other things, There's a lot of claims that want to be made about what this means for Wisconsin, what it's going to mean for our economy, what it's going to mean for jobs, so that during this re-election process, this shell game can continue to be played. That's not what the people of Wisconsin want. This time around, people have enough experience with Scott Walker to realize that their lives have not gotten better. Nobody's working any less. We've got families all over our state that are working longer and harder for less. This economic development plan, this Hail Mary pass that he's thrown to try to get Foxconn into southeastern Wisconsin, truly is a Hail Mary pass. You couldn't take this deal to a bank and get it financed. You certainly couldn't take it to a board of directors and get it passed. But yet, without any of these guarantees, Scott Walker puts it in place, and then all of these other residual costs that you referenced are now going to be borne again by people either locally or regionally. And think about some other things that are going to happen. We're going to have people who are going to migrate to southeastern Wisconsin because of the promise of these good-paying jobs. They're going to identify jobs that they think are going to be life-changing, and those people are going to come from places around our state that are already having difficulty attracting talented workers to those areas. So not only are we going to have difficulty in finding the people that are needed to actually help these businesses to grow their companies, the people who are already there, the potential exists that they come to southeastern Wisconsin. So we need, a training apparatus that helps us to identify all of the needs that are required throughout our state so small, medium, and large businesses can grow.
Andy, perhaps Foxconn wouldn't gall me so much if manufacturers in the state of Wisconsin actually paid taxation like the rest of us. The governor has given them a 0.4% effective tax rate. Last year, fully implemented, cost the state of Wisconsin $350 million, a third of $1 billion in a single year, lost revenue. Governor Scott Walker, through his Department of Workforce Development, January of 2017, was claiming the year before Wisconsin led the Midwest in manufacturer job growth, claiming we were 14th in the nation. It's not until 6 months later, Andy, when the gold standard comes out, the real big form survey, that we find out the Walker administration's lying through its teeth. We, in fact, lost 3,800 jobs and $400 million in wage in the manufacturing sector in last year alone, at the expense of $350 million. Andy, a couple of thoughts. First and foremost, what about the manufacturer and agricultural business credit? Any way to roll that back? And number two, what about the fact the governor uses his cabinet secretaries to put out lies and propaganda, which is provably false? But unfortunately, 6 months after the fact, if he starts lying in June, we're not going to know until after the next election day, Andy.
Well, I think Governor Walker continues to bank on the fact that the people of Wisconsin aren't paying attention, but I think they are paying attention now. People are seeing every day what the impact is on their life, not just on their life and what their earnings is or was and is no longer, but the fact that the good teachers that were teaching their kids in their schools are leaving. The fact that people are now paralyzed in fear of getting sick because maybe they're not going to have the health insurance or don't have the health insurance that is needed to make sure that if that happens, they can get well again. Wisconsin has transformed into a place that's now on the marquee nationally as the most dysfunctional state in the country. So when you talk about, what WEDC has done or what WEDC hasn't done, all of these millions of dollars have gone out the door, but yet their back room can't even account for whether or not those millions have turned into real jobs for the state of Wisconsin. So all of this has to change. We need an organization that actually understands what it is to be entrepreneurial, what it is to create new businesses that will create good-paying, family-sustaining jobs, what it is to be able to support small businesses so that there's not this big difference between a corporation and a company. Why don't we just look at them as Wisconsin businesses that actually need help to grow so that we have a situation where people can earn a good living and have a secure retirement? When you look at the manufacturer and ag tax, listen, that all has to be looked at because that revenue, if it really is only benefiting 11 people in the state of Wisconsin to the tune of millions of dollars of giveaways to Governor Walker's buddies, why is that something that we should be preserving? We should be looking for innovative ways to actually advance our economy and grow businesses throughout our state so that our small towns throughout Wisconsin aren't dying under Governor Walker.
Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, 1510 AM WRD. Candidate joins us in studio. Andy, entrepreneurship, as a businessman, you can certainly appreciate the fact that Wisconsin has trailed the nation in entrepreneurship. And I think, a big problem that we have as a state is the exodus of millennials and younger folks, a brain drain perhaps from the state into other metropolitan areas. How does the government, or how would you as a governor try to impact that, try to change that, turn that around, make Wisconsin perhaps the place to go to?
That's a great question. And again, a lot of people look at a lot of these issues, and they're fairly complicated. Something that's not complicated right now is that our population in the state of Wisconsin is aging, and our young people are leaving the state. And if you think about what that means in very simple terms, our costs are going up, and ultimately our revenues are going down. And if we don't correct that, we have a big problem, both short-term and long-term, in the state of Wisconsin. So I think what you have to do is really honor young people. We spent a lot of time in our campaign making sure that we're reaching out to young people on their terms, doing youth forums, looking for creative ways to bring young people, young graduates, back to the state of Wisconsin. One of the ideas that we're advancing is, let's recruit young people. Let's bring them back to the state. Let's for those people who are here working and living full-time, instead of paying the state of Wisconsin their corporate income tax, let's apply that very same amount to paying down their student debt for as long as they're working full-time in our state until it is fully paid off. That's something that will bring young people back, and it gives every business in the state of Wisconsin a recruiting tool and a retention tool. Let's start building within each one of our cities in Wisconsin the kind of communities that represent a 21st century economy, living environments and work environments that millennials want and need to attract them to our state. That's what we have to do. Let's be absolutely clear that Wisconsin is a place for young people, and they will be the architects of our state.
Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates. Got to find Dem gubernatorial candidate live in studio. He's Andy Gronek. Hopefully he'll stick around. Can he stick around? One more segment?
Yeah.
We'll come back with Andy live on Brady Street. You're listening to Wisconsin's only Resistance Radio, 1510 AM.
Romancing in the financing, open up a restaurant with tech dancing. The most check in, but they never check out. I set the record straight, no doubt.
They can go suck lemons.
Wisconsin's doing terribly. The roads are a disaster because they don't have any money to rebuild them. They're borrowing money like crazy. They projected a $1 billion surplus, and it turns out to be a deficit of $2.2 billion. The schools are a disaster. The hospitals and education is a disaster. And when I see Scott Walker with his little motorcycle and puts his helmet on and he gets off and he makes a speech, but he's always riding like he gets off a bike like he's a big tough guy. Okay, or a little tough guy. Their lobbyists, their special interests, and their donors will start calling. They gave you $1 million to your campaign, and this one gave you $5 million, and this one, you have to do it. You know what he's going to say? Okay, I'll do it.
Mr. Trump, you're using the talking points of the Democrats, and as we all know, I'm using facts.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
On December 4th, 2017, an application was filed by New WRD LLC with the Federal Communications Commission in Washington, D.C. for a new FM translator construction permit to serve Milwaukee, Wisconsin, operating on channel 269 with 200 watts ERP from a transmitter site with geographic coordinates of 43 degrees, 5 minutes, 46 seconds north, 87 degrees, 54 minutes, 15 seconds west, rebroadcasting WRD 1510 AM, Waukesha, Wisconsin.
Hello, my name is Earl Ingram, morning show host on Resistance Radio 1510 AM WRRD at a new time slot, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday, Saturdays noon to 3. Join us at 844-967-2789, 844-967-2789. Stream us at newstalk1510am.com. Spread the word. Earl Ingram on Resistance Radio 1510 AM WRRD 7 to 9. I'm back. Pete's Fruit Market, a family-owned business serving Milwaukee for more than a generation, now has a brand new second location at the corner of North Avenue and Martin Luther King Drive in Milwaukee's Brunsville neighborhood. The new store is open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week and always features the freshest fruits and vegetables at the lowest prices. In addition to offering the best produce, Pete's Fruit Market is also a full-line grocery store featuring fresh meats and delicious deli items. Pete's Fruit Market, Milwaukee's best produce.
We've got Jesse Pica-Holtz in studio with Solidarity Realty. Jesse, why on earth are you advertising in the Milwaukee area when you help buy and sell homes in Dane County?
Simple. Since Walker's policies have taken hold 7 years ago, most new job growth in Wisconsin has happened here in Dane County because of its progressive policies. And plenty of folks who commute to or from Madison already know that many rentals here are more expensive than a fixed mortgage.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Dane County, call Solidarity Realty or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
Music is a bridge between the material and the spiritual. My name is Harvey Lauer, and I'm 82. As a blind person, you have to be aware that nobody can tell you what you can or can't do. You really have to try things. My folks got me a little radio in 1940, and that was the best Christmas present I ever got. When I was 11 years old is when I started to play music, play the piano, and then the accordion, and then the cello. My wife, who was also blind, was a good cook. When she died, that's when I started Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the radio show your mother warned you about. Tom and Kreutz are the devil's advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show, live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, 1510 AM WRRD, live right now. But you can get podcasts and interviews pre-recorded on the website domandcroot.com.
Someday maybe we'll sell them what we talk about during the commercial breaks. That's where the real action on the show happens.
That's the premium price.
Dominic, we've still got a fine guest live in studio. He's Andy Gronick, a Milwaukee area businessman, a Democrat running for governor here in the great state of Wisconsin. Andy, I was bemoaning the fact off air. There's a lot of you guys.
There is.
And it is becoming a big field. And while Kurt Kolber, apparently a Sheboygan area businessman, he's the first one to say no of late. He's going to go run for lieutenant governor. We understand Kelda Royce might jump in. Paul Soglin might jump in. I mean, this is still an expanding field, Andy. And the first delineation line, the first line in the sand is probably going to be money. And who raised money in this quarter? And those sort of details will come forth in January. Andy, without giving away all your secrets, how are you going to do on the fundraising totals?
Well, to your point, I was at a candidate forum in Eau Claire last week, and I said to a very, very packed house, I said, gosh, any more people come in that door, we're going to have to stack you like cordwood. And this person turned back to me and said, looking at the stage, pretty soon we're going to have to stack you guys like cordwood. So it was a good comment. And there are a lot of people, but it's a really great conversation. There's a lot of good people who are really vying to be the next governor of Wisconsin. And I think you're right. Unfortunately, money is going to be one of the indicators that people look for. Undeniably, we have to be able to raise the money in our campaign to make sure that we're building the kind of structure that not only takes us through the primary at a sprint, but puts us in a position to actually have the organization needed to beat Scott Walker. That does take support. It takes people who are willing to dive in. And when you have so many people, a lot of people are saying, I don't know, we're going to kind of wait to see what happens. Well, if you're going to wait to see what happens, I can tell you exactly what's going to happen. And it's going to be the same kind of an outcome that we've seen, unfortunately, a number of times when we've taken on Scott Walker. People have to come in off the bench. So what I'm recommending to people is, of course, I would love to earn your support. Invest along with me. I am here to beat Scott Walker. I am not doing this for exercise. But if you haven't made up your mind between me and maybe another candidate, then support both. If you want to keep that conversation going, identify the candidate or candidates that you think have the best chance to win, because in the end, I can tell you exactly what people want in the state of Wisconsin. They want people who share their progressive values and will beat Scott Walker. I am here to beat Scott Walker.
Well, Andy, you're a white dude. And it's only been white men that have won the governorship here in the state of Wisconsin, historically speaking. But I saw, and I look back, harken back a couple years ago, right at the DPW, and Martha Lanning, in part, won her position as chair of the Democratic Party of Wisconsin by partnering with David Bowen. And I thought it was a smart partnership. I know Jeff Smith and some others were angling for a different part of the party, but, you know, Martha Lanning won, and David Bowen's the first vice chair of the Democratic Party. I thought it was a smart pairing. Andy, can you envision trying to pair up with a lieutenant gubernatorial candidate, trying to, you know, find someone that helps complement your strengths, something of that effect? Or is it really about your candidacy and let the voters decide who's going to be the lieutenant governor?
No, I can actually absolutely envision that. And I think ultimately one of the things, and we're getting a little ahead of the game here, but ultimately I do believe I'm going to be the candidate that's taking on Scott Walker. I think in a lieutenant governor, you want someone who could also be governor. And as governor, I think that my job is to be part of a team to make sure that everybody within the organization has an opportunity to perform and do their life's best work. I think part of my job is to make sure that we get more Democrats elected, that we have a system that helps people understand how to put a winning plan together and communicate that plan so that that turns into legislation, and the people that we're out there fighting for, that we can actually get them the resources and the proper execution to make that happen. That's all part of my job, I believe, as governor. So listen, the prospect of teaming up with someone who is super smart and able to complement the kinds of things that I naturally bring to this arena is absolutely doable, something I want to do, but we may be just a tad ahead of ourselves in identifying who that might be.
You're listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on WRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Andy Gronick, Democratic gubernatorial candidate, joins us in studio. We started the segment talking about money, and I'm concerned, you know, whoever runs against Scott Walker, they're not going to have as much money as Scott Walker, given all the different resources that he has in the third-party groups. So I think it's going to take certainly a coalition. And if we look and see what happened down in Alabama with Doug Jones, African-American women turned out for that election. I think we may need to get that kind of spirit here in Wisconsin to, you know, beat Governor Scott Walker. Coalitions, different groups. Are you reaching out to the African American community, to these different groups, to form that kind of coalition? Because I think it's going to take more than just money. It's going to take turnout.
Yeah. So to your point about Scott Walker raising a lot of money, listen, the guy is a professional fundraiser. That's what he's been doing since he's been in office. We kind of started this segment by talking about some of the ways those funds come in. So for us, it's really pretty simple. This really is a grassroots effort. It is about reaching out to everyone in our state, not just the African American community, but everyone. That's how I started this process. I traveled the state for 18 months. I talked to over 700 people about real plans and ideas to actually move the state forward, to create good-paying, family-sustaining jobs, to get back to the kind of education that we've always had pride in the state of Wisconsin. So it is the absolute best choice for our kids. So reaching out to groups who are definitely feeling that there's a need for a change. We can talk about statistics all day long. You can't fake somebody out when they're actually living a life that has gone down since Scott Walker took office. I ask people all the time, think of Scott Walker if you're working harder today than you were when he took office. Think of Scott Walker when you drop into a pothole in roads that aren't being repaired. Think of Scott Walker if it was your great teacher in your community that left not only your school, but left the institution of teaching because of the way they've been treated in the state of Wisconsin. If that's the kind of life experience you have under the administration of Scott Walker, everybody knows that it's time for a change. And even Republicans, let's just be honest. He talks about himself as being the open for business governor. Open for what business? Honestly, so many businesses have left the state. You mentioned earlier, we've lost over 3,700 manufacturing jobs. We're dead last in the country in starting new businesses in our state. The only thing Scott Walker's open for is open for another run for president.
Andy, any events tonight you want to talk about?
Yeah, there's an event. ASME's hosting an event where candidates are coming in to answer questions to groups. They're calling it as a bingo event. So I'm excited to be there, excited to have an opportunity to talk to people who are really passionate about our state.
And where's that, at the ASME Hall? We'll ask the staffers. We'll tell people at the top of the hour. Andy Grodick.
They point me, I go.
Democratic gubernatorial candidate, doing a little political speed dating later. Thanks for joining us and sticking around on Brady Street. More Devil's Advocates. The happy hour starts right now.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Good luck. We're all counting on you.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Well, I finally did it. I opened a 401k.
What? Why? Just wait for the inheritance. We've definitely got a rich uncle somewhere. We're one call away from the winner's circle at the Derby, dinners with multiple forks, a vacation home in the country, using summer as a verb.
You don't actually think that, do you?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
You are listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, WRRD, 1510 AM, Waukesha.
Not quite a done deal. Tales of terror on a train. I'm Rich Johnson. They are debating the Republican tax overhaul bill in the Senate at this hour, ahead of a vote later tonight.
We are witnessing highway robbery in broad daylight and a looting of the federal treasury.
Vermont Independent Bernie Sanders unleashing his anger on the Republican moves, but now it turns out the House will have to take another vote.
The expectation is there will still be a signing ceremony at some point Wednesday afternoon at the White House, but several technical provisions will have to be stripped out. That means the Senate vote tonight will not be the final vote. The House vote tomorrow morning will be the final vote.
Correspondent Phil Mattingly on Capitol Hill says the version the House passed this afternoon contains 3 provisions that violate Senate rules, hence the need for another House vote. Could be a few more days before Interstate 5 south of Tacoma, Washington reopens at the site of yesterday's fatal train derailment. And we're hearing more from those who were riding Amtrak Train 501.
Although the NTSB says the cause of the derailment hasn't yet been determined, it has said that the train was traveling at nearly 3 times the speed limit, 80 miles per hour in a 30 mile per hour zone. And witnesses described the moment of the crash as being inside an exploding bomb.
All of a sudden it was just a crash and
things just started to tip over, and as it was going around, and then all of a sudden just ended up on site and everything went dark and stuff started flying around, and that was it, and then it stopped.
In DuPont, Washington, Natasha Chen reporting.
The death toll remains at 3, the number of injured more than 70. Green Bay Packers say quarterback Aaron Rodgers is done for the season. He came back from a serious shoulder injury Sunday, but the team was eliminated from the playoffs. Looks like the for-sale Carolina Panthers have suitors. Sean Combs says he wants to buy in. NBA star Stephen Curry is interested, as is out-of-work quarterback Colin Kaepernick. Wall Street, the Dow lost 16 points. I'm Rich Johnson.
I was on Zero Res Madison's Facebook page the other day, and they have almost 2,000 testimonials from local customers. Apparently, I am not the only one stoked on how cool this company is. A green technology that actually works better and doesn't cost more. It's a no-brainer. I'm in. We are starting our own Devil's Advocates revolution to free your carpets from harsh chemicals and soaps. Call Zero Res today and ask for the Diamond Crude Special 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
I'm State Representative Jocasta Zamaripa.
And I'm Joel Clayfish.
Listen to us on the Joel and Jocasta Show, Saturdays at 3 p.m.
She's a Latina woman from the inner city of Milwaukee, and I'm a white guy from the suburbs. Diversity in the white guy. You are not going to believe what you hear on this show. I'm telling you, you're going to have to listen. News Talk, 1510 a.m., WRRD.
Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Twitter has suspended the accounts of several white supremacists, including one made famous by President Trump.
One of the accounts suspended by Twitter Monday for what it sees as abusive content was the account of the far-right white nationalist group Britain First. President Trump caused a stir after retweeting a post by group leader Jada Franson.
Islam has threatened the world for far too long.
The videos and Franson's descriptions of them claimed they show incidents of violence committed by Muslims, but at least one has been widely discredited as fake. President Trump's press secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders later said the content of the videos was not the point.
The threat is real, and that is what the president is talking about.
Twitter has also suspended the accounts of Britain First co-founder Paul Golding. Scott Carr, Washington.
President Trump's about to take his place inside the Hall of Presidents at Disney World. Video of the new mechanical Trump standing across a table from Abraham Lincoln was leaked online yesterday. I'm Richard Johnson.
Hi, I'm Crudy. I'm here with my friend Tom Alonzi, Principal Officer with Teamsters Local 200. Tom, why are you union strong, Teamster strong?
Well, because, Crudy, the Teamsters are the most powerful labor union in North America with 1.4 million members, standing together for better wages, benefits, and working conditions at their respective places of work.
Tom, what are the unions going to do for the next generation?
The same things we Teamsters have done for the generations before them, Crudy. Give them respect, dignity, and representation with a legal binding contract with their employer, not just the empty promises of an ever-changing employee handbook.
Tom, if people want to know more about the unions or joining the Teamsters, what do they do?
Well, Crudy, they can simply call Teamsters Local 200 at 414-771-6363 and say, I'd like to know more about becoming a Teamster. Or they can go to our website at teamsterslocal200.com.
Be union strong. Stand with Teamsters Local 200, like News Talk 1510 AM and your friend Crew.
Good afternoon. It is 4:05 for 1510 AM, WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly. UW-Madison has already admitted its first batch of freshmen for next year, hoping to beat out the competition. Also, overnight parking permits for the city of Milwaukee will be available starting tomorrow. A judge says he should not have allowed Brad Schimmel to release some of the details of the investigation into Scott Walker and other Republicans. Currently, 4,000 people are without power on Milwaukee's northwest side. We Energy customers in Milwaukee's northwest side. Service interruption reported about 2:30 p.m. And LeBron James of the Cleveland Cavaliers come to town tonight to take on the Bucks. Also, Aaron Rodgers has been shut down for the rest of the season. Tonight, mostly clear, lows in the low 20s. It is currently 45 degrees in Milwaukee and 43 in Waukesha for 1510 AM. My name is Brian Kelly.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dom, we're sliding into the 4 o'clock happy hour here on Brady Street. Want to thank our most recent guest. He is Andy Gronick, and I did get a few of the details, Dom. He's going to a Working Families Candidate Choice event. That's the speed dating we referenced. That was at 3:20. Let me try that again. It's written on my hand. Sarah Palin's.
Sarah.
My fat fingers got in the way. 3427 West St. Paul. And you can always find him at his website, andygronick.com. He was quick to point out he's got a new video up, 20 Miles it's called. Go find it, Andy Gronick, GRONIK.com. Or go to the event tonight. Or go to Mike McCabe's happy hour. That's starting right now.
Down
we got
in Sobelman's.
competition.
Yeah, I know. Come on. Bring some beers over here, fellas.
And the FCC makes us turn this fine AM signal off soon, so we better jam in a little scientific survey poll we did, Dom. Much like the WMC surveyed its members and got overwhelming support for the policies of Scott Walker. 0% taxes, 0.4% for manufacturers. Apparently, the WMC members like that notion a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
But it's a bad poll if there's 72% support for Donald Trump. 72% support for Donald Trump amongst WMC pollees. Well, Don, we did our own little, I'd call it scientific. We threw it on Facebook. That makes it scientific,
The
right?
internet's very scientific. Yes, we did a poll. We did one poll. We threw them all into one. Foxconn, Governor Walker, and Donald Trump. Thumbs up means approval. Thumbs down, disapproval. And the polls, as I mentioned on the post, closed at 4 p.m. Crudy, I'm here with the announcement. 97% of those polled disapprove of Foxconn, Governor Scott Walker, and Donald Trump.
And then the other vote is Mike Stanley, right? Our constant critic and troll from the right,
Yes.
Mike Stanley.
Yes.
He's a big thumbs up for Walker, Trump,
and Foxconn.
And
But of our fine audience, once again, over 97% disapprove. So I guess, you have to consider the source.
Oh, yeah, by the way, breaking news.
What?
Affecting the House tax bill that they historically passed today.
Yes, I saw. Very proud they were.
It's not going to stand up, Dom.
What?
They're going to have to vote again.
Oops.
The House will have to hold another vote on its historic tax bill because 3 provisions violate Senate rules. The House version can't pass the Senate. You think in the many chicken scratchings that came together, they would have, straightened out and abided by rules at both houses, but apparently not.
But they didn't write that one in the margins.
So that leaves me back to the question of where we started the day, the priorities of the Republican Party here in the state of Wisconsin. We know Scott Walker wrote an op-ed supportive of these tax cuts for the uber rich. Hell, he's already given them, right? Manufacturers and agri-tax credit. 11, probably Scott Walker donors, received multi-million dollars per person in tax cuts right here in the state of Wisconsin. And we talked about the fact they've done some math on these newest federal tax cuts. 46% of the benefit going to corporations. Scott Walker, primarily, I would guess, contributors. WMC members not paying any taxes. Shedding worker, shedding wage. Because, of course, when you give someone an effective 0% tax rate, their only incentive is to cash out.
Well, and you gotta. This is what I don't understand about this. And as a government, as corporate America, people live quarter to quarter. Your bonuses are paid out quarterly. Everyone's worried about
quarterly bonuses.
What was the stock price last quarter compared to this quarter? Did you meet your sales goals this quarter? Everything's all about the immediacy. Right now, you got to get the return right now. The stockholders will not wait. But this is what I don't understand. Why, if this is such an emergency and if this is so critical, and we know that the stockholders will not wait, why does Governor Walker throw? I'm gonna have to try to format this in a different state.
I can give you like 3 minutes, and we got to shut off the AM signal, buddy. Let's make it 2.
2 minutes. We are, as a society, driven by immediacy. The shares...
Immediate gratification.
in all aspects and in investments. And we've seen Governor Walker put these policies in place in the state of Wisconsin, knowing that the next return, the next dollar is the most important one. Well, of course, the reaction, I believe, when those who are in these environments get the money, well, they're going to try to harvest the profits, as we used to say back in the old investment days, Crudy. You take
Cash
the
out
money
now.
You take the money when you can. You do not know next quarter, next year, next presidential cycle what the tax landscape is going to look like. So you cash out now.
So why do you think the governor would have we, the taxpayers of the state of Wisconsin, betting nearly $4 billion on a foreign corporation? Best case scenario, rosiest estimates, will start paying us back profit in 25 years.
Because, much like corporate America, government, he's worried about his donors right now. He has a history of funneling
his
corporate
instant
money.
gratification.
Yes, he has a history, Governor Walker, of funneling corporate money through third-party dark money organizations. I have no doubt, and I have no proof, but I have no doubt that's exactly what he's doing here with Foxconn.
Well, there is a history of him taking money and giving back quid pro quo. Hell, $4 billion. If he didn't get paid off on this one, Dom, he's not doing his job as the corrupt governor of the state of Wisconsin. Folks, we're the Devil's Advocates turning off this fine AM signal, but this show ain't over, and you can still live stream us, newstalk1510am.com. Come back, more of the finest political commentary, perhaps, ever.
Paul Ryan needs to step down as Speaker of the House.
You write the bill, then you release the bill.
How could you possibly misjudge this?
Good evening, everyone. Due to FCC regulations and that we are a daytime AM radio station, this now concludes our broadcast day. But you don't have to leave us. We do stream online 24/7 at newstalk1510am.com. That's newstalk1510am.com. Or check us out on the TuneIn app at WRRD 1510am. For those of you already streaming, we now continue regular programming, and please welcome your friends from the radio station. Say hi, everyone. News Talk 1510 AM, WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
When you need an attorney, trust the voice of experience. The only choice, Lawton and Cates.
I needed an attorney because I was injured at work. I wanted to find a reputable attorney. The results that I got with Lawton and Cates were very good. I'm very happy with the way I was treated and the end result that I got.
Trust the voice of experience. Call the attorneys at Lawton and Cates. 282-6200. 282-6200.
I don't know if you know the Devil's Advocates, but they are kind of a big deal.
Well, you guys are having a good show so far.
Hey, could you say that again? Just not for our sake, Paul, but for the sake of the audience.
Yeah, tell everybody once again what a great show we are having.
You guys have a good show almost every day.
Wow, almost. All right, thanks for calling, Paul. I'm just kidding.
Okay, every day.
Tweet some shade at you, Paul.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 AM, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
When Wisconsin Republican Brad Schimmel
I don't have a lot of expertise.
decided to run for Wisconsin Attorney General,
I don't even know my own website address.
even some conservatives questioned his ability.
You can always say no to a request for an interview, and I kind of wish Mr. Schimmel had said no. I don't think he was ready for that.
Schimmel claims to be all about law and order.
You start with the default position that yes, you will enforce the laws.
Apparently, even if that means enforcing a 1960s-style ban on interracial marriage.
It might be distasteful to me, but I've got to stay consistent with that as the state's lawyer. It's not my job to pick and choose.
Wisconsin deserves a competent attorney general.
We've got to go.
Yes, Brad Schimmel, you do got to go. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call a number on the for sale sign?
Great question. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you the home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner to buy that house at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust.
Like you?
Like me. I will find the home that best fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from the offer through closing day. And the best part is that the buyer doesn't have to pay a dime for me to represent them.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty 608-284-9311 or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
Say, man, you got a joint?
No, not on me, man.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, 1510 AM, WRRD, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, on Twitter at Devil Radio. And we got phone lines. I know we've been busy, but we'll make time for you now. 844-967-2789.
Dominic, I know that you've seen and taken note of articles in the Washington Post over the weekend about UFOs.
Oh, I see. Wait till we get off the broadcast there to talk about it, Crudy. Are you trying to keep the panic down?
The truth is out there, Dom.
Yeah. Hey, it's not my truth. This is taxpayer-funded videos being released from the Pentagon.
And this is not something that was in the National Enquirer, let's say. This is the Washington Post. This is, one of the fine investigative journalistic outfits in America. No fake news there, Dom.
Well, not if you listen to Trump, there is, but, I would concur with you. It's not fake news.
Now, I watched a video over the course of the weekend. It was a Tic-Tac looking thing, and it went, Mach 6? Instantly from 0 to Mach 6? That's 6 times the speed of sound. That's like 4,200 miles an hour, Dom.
Yeah, that's fast.
And this Air Force pilot is observing this, and they've got, a visual lock. They've got, sort of this radar lock.
They got the heads-up display, man. I mean, this is high-tech gear that we have here in this country, and we see this machine, and it's he's going the pilot's going about half the speed of sound. He's like 0.56 Mach on the one that I saw, and there were 3 videos that were released. You can check them all out through the Washington Post as well. And
first this thing descended from 80,000 feet to 20,000 feet, then it hovered over the ocean, outside of San Diego,
all our fine
California.
Aircraft do that, right? That's regular. That happens all the time, right?
And there was something white in the ocean, but there was no jet spray, like a helicopter. It would create ripples in the water. There were no ripples in the water, according to the Air Force pilot. And then, Dom, the speed of ascension and the ability to basically go from 0 to 4,200 miles per hour instantly is a little beyond human capabilities, to the best of our knowledge.
Well, if we did that, our brains would go out the back of our skulls. I mean, we have too much, we don't
a big drone then, Dom?
We don't know how, a human body could withstand that. So perhaps it was, how does any physical body handle that kind of pressure? I mean, that's the reason why you pass out when you're taking too tight of turns when you're an aircraft.
I don't even
pilot.
like riding the escalators, Tom.
Come on, did you ever go into the Great America or any amusement park and you went on the spinning thing and you'd be up against the wall?
The Pukarama. Sure, I've done that one. I don't care for heights much. I don't even like being on airplanes. You know that. You've flown with me. No, I'm not a thrill seeker. And, actually, I've got one authority in my life who is completely renouncing this news that there might be extraterrestrial life out there. My wife says, no way, I don't believe it. She said, I would have believed it right up until Donald Trump was elected president.
Yeah.
But if there were aliens out there and Trump knew, she's like, there's no way he'd keep his mouth shut.
What makes you think Trump knows? I mean, come on. If there is a deep state, man, I would suggest that the military might have some information that, an executive branch member like the president doesn't get to know.
Buddy, he's got the nuclear football.
Yeah, so?
But they're not going to tell him that E.T.'s living down at Area 51?
Is E.T. living at Area 51? What is the priority now of the U.S. government? Again, this information is released, and I have a hard time believing that the human race, as we stand, hurling through space on this rock, are the pinnacle of evolution in all of the universe.
Well,
I just find that very difficult to believe.
And don't you think, theoretically, if they are here living amongst us, think about like the show B Once Upon a Time many years ago. Yeah. If the aliens are living amongst us and they're, taking power from us, sort of a hostile takeover, a internal coup d'etat, is there any probability that perhaps it's not Russia that Trump's in collusion with, but some very foreign government, if you know what I'm saying? Is he perhaps a lizard creature? That's why the skin is orange, Dom. It is a color unnatural on the face of the earth. That orange only comes from deep space.
Well, him and Boehner then, right?
Oh, Boehner's big pro tanning bed guy.
So here,
nicotine stains and tanning bed stains.
This is what I don't understand. I mean, if this is essentially let go from the government, some guy who led the program, and I don't have the article directly in front of me here, but he's been all over the news. You can find any of this information on legitimate news websites, Washington Post, CNN. Don't tell Trump; he'll never admit to it. But if we're so concerned about North Korea, right? We're on the verge of war, perhaps with North Korea, and we got to build a wall in the southern border to keep away all the illegal immigration, bringing all their drugs in.
The aliens, if you will, Dom.
So, are we going to build a dome? Is it time for the dome over the United States? Okay, so
you think rich people
kidding.
Aren't already building their own domes? I hear New Zealand's becoming quite popular with the billionaire set, Dom. They've got their own bunkers being built. It's the rest of us that are going to be subject to becoming Soylent Green for the space people.
Well, so do you accept if one accepts that? Okay, maybe we're not alone, and you start. Do you start reevaluating every belief system, everything you were ever taught, every cultural, religious, governmental priority? Does the way of life have to now adjust to a new reality?
Well, it would certainly explain away a lot of the faith-based precepts of religion, would it not? Maybe a god of sorts has come down from the heavens, and maybe these people are so far superior, maybe they even have halos down, for all we know.
Well, sure.
Maybe this gives some plausible explanation to the religion you're so opposed to.
I believe that our race the human race would have a difficult time discerning a billion-year advanced technological action from magic. How do you know? I mean, we have so Crudy, you watched it. I watched it. We can't, pilots that are trained, very highly trained, flying $1 million aircraft, and this is what they do, and they're freaking out. What the hell do you see? Look at that thing. It's turning. It's spinning. It's rotating. Well, I mean, so we have to take that seriously, do we not?
I'm not clear if I got room on the pallet for one more problem, whether it's extraterrestrial or domestic. I mean, between Donald Trump and tax bills and Scott Walker's malfeasance here in the state of Wisconsin and ongoing corruption, I don't know if I got time to work aliens into the mix right now.
But maybe if we accept it and we understand that it takes us away from our pettiness in our lives and realize, there's something way more up there, something greater, grander than us. We are not the center of the universe. We are not the pinnacle of universal evolution.
It's a very humbling experience. And again, I would suggest that if that's the case, what happens to the pillars of society? What happens to religion? What happens to governance?
I mean, the pillars of society have already been destroyed by this president. Religion, it's the evangelicals that put Trump in this position. I would say we've already got societal breakdown happening right before our eyes. It's going to be dogs and cats out there on the streets in no time.
If you're concerned about warfare and immigration and invasion from this earth, from other countries, how could you not be then concerned about the fact that we got our most powerful fighter jets getting left in the dust by technology that our fighter pilots say they have no idea what it is and is probably not of this earth?
Do you think there is a Trump dossier? Do you think perhaps he was abducted at some point? Do you think Trump, the president, if that's truly a human being in that costume?
It's like an Edgar suit from Men in Black. It's a Trump suit. Someone's wearing a Trump suit.
Or perhaps he's been so greatly subjected to anal probing of some sort. Maybe he's just become insane from all the experiments they've run on him to appropriate the greatest mind with the greatest words and turned him into, let's call it, an asset for either Putin or E.T. Folks, we are the devil's advocates. Is the truth out there? Are there aliens? I'd like to know your opinion. Join us now on the phones. FCC's monitoring, NSA's monitoring, and perhaps the aliens are monitoring at 844-967-2789. We'll be right back. Your phone calls. Phone home.
Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
I have seen shit that'll turn you white.
Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself.
Pete's Fruit Market, a family-owned business serving Milwaukee for more than a generation, now has a brand new second location at the corner of North Avenue and Martin Luther King Drive in Milwaukee's Brunsville neighborhood. The new store is open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week and always features the freshest fruits and vegetables at the lowest prices. In addition to offering the best produce, Pete's Fruit Market is also a full-line grocery store featuring fresh meats and delicious deli items. Pete's Fruit Market, Milwaukee's best produce.
It only takes a minute to find out if you may have prediabetes, and you can do it at doihaveprediabetes.org. But you're probably not going to, are you? Kids, work, listening to the radio. You're busy, which is great because busy people can't get prediabetes. Oh my, I read that wrong. They can. Should have worn my glasses. So visit doihaveprediabetes.org and take a short test, because prediabetes can be reversed.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its pre-diabetes awareness partners.
The Stephanie Miller Show is on twice daily, 6 to 9 p.m. and midnight to 3 a.m. You can stream The Stephanie Miller Show and all of our fine programming on newstalk1510am.com.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home, walk, restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
Finding best potatoes for French fries.
No!
Russet, fingerling, Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
In 50 feet, turn left. Why are you driving so slowly?
After a few drinks, I'm taking it slow.
Well, you're not fooling the cop behind you.
What?
Get ready to pay in 0.1 miles.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Dog Show. Up next, we have Satchmo. Satchmo is a member of the Shelter Pet Group.
That's right, a group known especially for their couch-snuggling, ball-chasing, face-licking, and, of course, companionship. Now, let's see him in action.
Look how he makes eye contact with his person.
That's actually known as the treat stare.
How intuitive, and now he appears to be excitedly turning in circles.
Ah, the happy dance so common with this group.
But really, the best way to know an amazing shelter pet like Satchmo is to meet one.
Visit theshelterpetproject.org today. Adopt.
Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Ground control to Major Tom.
The Devil's Advocates, so relevant they have 1 foot in tomorrow.
Ground control to Major Tom. Take your protein pills and put your helmet on. Ground control to Major Tom.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Apparently, none of your extraterrestrial friends want to play along today, Dom.
Hey, you know, it's a different time in the world when the major news organizations are reporting actual footage from Pentagon-released intercepts of unknown, unidentified flying objects, and nobody cares. Yeah,
talking about our audience or broadly, nationally?
Broadly, nationally.
Let me ask you this. If E.T. came down, or, aliens came to Earth and said, we're trying to take over the country, take over the government, and we're going to collude with Trump during the campaign, do you think Republicans would attack NASA like they're attacking the FBI for apparently investigating collusion with Russia? Do you think they would even care? Would they perceive it to be treasonous if Trump had colluded with ET? Or would they say ends justify the means like they're doing right now?
I guess it would depend on whether or not ET was contributing to their campaign. Doesn't that seem to be what the deciding factor is on all sorts of things in this world? Are you giving me money or aren't you?
Well, ET as a individual campaign donor, or ET as a foreign corporation of sorts?
Well, we can set
ET Industries, if you will. I'm sure they would probably create the, logistically speaking, they'd probably create the corporation in New Hampshire.
As long as you register as a domestic corporation, I think you'll be all right.
You think that's all it would take? Apparently, nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Move along.
Do we have any other topics of the day, or are we just going to wrap the show half an hour early?
Go to the bar. I hear there's a party going on down at Sobelman's. Curdy did see something in the Washington Post, the same news organization that broke the story, or at least reported on the intercept of the ET
National
UFO.
Enquirer and the Star had Hillary Clinton mothering a love baby from ET like 30 years ago. They were way out front on this story, Dom.
Well, I thought that was...
You don't even know.
Was that Pizzagate, or is that something different?
No, that's separate from Pizzagate.
Okay.
I don't think it's just because Chelsea was not the most attractive of babies. I think they were, making some stuff up once upon a time. But now one must question everything one believes in, Dom. Maybe there is a God and his name is E.T.
Maybe. You never know. That's more plausible than some old man in the sky watching everything I do like Santa Claus.
Does it really reconcile the story of the Virgin Mary, though?
Now, there's a woman who stuck to her story.
Yes.
There is no God.
Crudy, headline, of course, in politics, our friends in Virginia might be interested in this one. Again, from the Washington Post.
Perhaps there is a God.
A Republican seat flipped Democratic in a wild recount Tuesday, with the Democrat winning, Crudy, by a single vote.
And they say your vote doesn't matter.
Creating a rare 50-50 tie between the parties in the House of Delegates and refashioning the political landscape in Richmond. Democrat Shelley Simmons emerged from the recount as the apparent winner in the 94th District of the House of Delegates, seizing the seat from Republican incumbent David Yancey.
Now, will Yancey be able to call for a re-recount?
A re-recount?
I mean, when you're one vote off,
can we do that again?
That could be a human error, couldn't it?
A 3-judge panel still must certify the results, and event scheduled for Wednesday of the 23,866 votes cast in the Newport News District on Election Day. Yancey held a tenuous lead of just 10 votes going into Tuesday's recount. But 5 hours and much nail-biting later, after painstaking counting overseen by local election officials and the clerk, of course, Yancey's lead narrowed before it gradually disappeared, then reversed, allowing Simmons to beat him by 1 vote. Final tally, 11,608 for Simmons and 11,607 for Yancey.
Do you remember that Simpsons episode where Bart Simpson was running for class president?
No.
And everybody was celebrating. You know, Bart Simpson declared, I forget, pizza every day in the cafeteria, whatever his platform was. It was quite popular with the youth in Springfield.
Oh, kind of like the Donald Trump election campaign. But yes, go ahead.
Yeah, you promised him the world.
Everything, yep.
Well, Bart had promised him the world, and everyone, was celebratory. They knew that with this sort of strong platform, Bart was going to be the champ. So they all went out celebrating a recess, and nobody bothered to vote. And literally, if any of the children of Bart's class had voted, Bart would be the president, but none of them bothered to vote. Dom, there's got to be some racist, Nazi-loving person in that Virginia district that thinks, damn it, man, why did I go to the golf course and the gun range that day?
Golf course, man? Why did I pick up that 1/8 of meth? Should have gone and voted, but I got high instead.
Well, somebody's got to be kicking themselves if this truly comes down to a 1-vote margin. I mean, theoretically, any single voter in the district could look themselves in the mirror and say, I could have made a difference. But instead, you got a 50-50 split. I would certainly take that sort of coin flip here in the state of Wisconsin.
Oh, didn't Hillary win all sorts of coin flips during her election cycle?
Oh, let's not talk about the Iowa Hawkeye. Yeah, Hillary Clinton won like 6 districts in Iowa.
I mean, come on.
By some mythological coin flips that seem so improbable that she might win every single one. But, I hate to relitigate the Iowa caucuses.
I think, anytime these happen, it should be settled by a video of rock, paper, scissors, best out of 3.
I would think Indian leg wrestle. Indigenous people leg wrestling.
What, Hillary and Bernie going at it?
Sure.
A couple of busted hips. That'd be a terrible idea.
You could have some super delegates, be champions for their respective candidates.
Maybe thumb wrestling.
Maybe Debbie Wasserman and Donna Brazil could throw down in the ring.
I know. Let's have a spelling contest.
I tell you what, buddy. I got nothing.
So let's take a break. 844-967-2789. You got nothing, Crudy, but there's still lots to talk about.
I got nothing I could say aloud on the radio.
Well,
Let me put it that way.
Well, we're only on radio in a few states right now, but we are still honoring their FCC requirements. We're online at newstalk15am.com, and we're on the phones 844-967-2789. Apparently the aliens got to Crudy's brain.
It's all the anal probing, man. It just throws me a little off my game. The aliens, they abducted me. Where do you think I was yesterday? That wasn't even me on the radio with you.
No, it was...
That was Space Crudy.
An Edgar suit.
Did you notice I was a little less clever than normal?
No. Didn't.
Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates live on Brady Street. The happy hour continues. Hopefully you'll stick around. Join us on the phones, 844-967-2789.
Are you Roman Catholic? Oh, I'm sorry, but I'm afraid you can't come.
Hi, this is Brad Saug, owner of Zero Res Madison Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is the best new technology in carpet cleaning. We have a patented process using empowered water, a high-tech process in which we force the water to act like soap. It doesn't want to stay in that state. It's jacked up and it's angry and it wants to hit the dirt and then it neutralizes. When we're done, all that's left in your carpet is just light moisture. In the end, you get the cleanest, greenest, healthiest carpet cleaning available. Call us at 848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it backward or forward. It's the right way to clean.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call a number on the for sale sign?
Great question. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you the home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner to buy that house at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust.
Like you?
Like me. I will find the home that best fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from the offer through closing day. And the best part is that the buyer doesn't have to pay a dime for me to represent them.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
If you're like a lot of companies, you know you need IT, but you aren't sure where to start. That's where Five Nines comes in. Hi, I'm Todd Stryker, President and CEO. For almost 15 years, Five Nines has been providing IT solutions to companies just like yours. We'll show you the solutions that are right for your business and give you the roadmap to success in the future. Find us at fivenines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
When Wisconsin Republican Brad Schimmel,
I don't have a lot of expertise,
decided to run for Wisconsin Attorney General,
I don't even know my own website address.
Even some conservatives questioned his ability.
You can always say no to a request for an interview, and I kind of wish Mr. Schimmel had said no. I don't think he was ready for that.
Schimmel claims to be all about law and order.
You start with the default position that yes, you will enforce the laws.
Apparently, even if that means enforcing a 1960s-style ban on interracial marriage.
It might be distasteful to me, but I've got to stay consistent with that as the state's lawyer. It's not my job to pick and choose.
Wisconsin deserves a competent attorney general.
We've got to go.
Yes, Brad Schimmel, you do got to go. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
I'm State Representative Jocasta Zamaripa.
And I'm Joel Clayfish.
Listen to us on the Joel and Jocasta Show, Saturdays at 3 p.m.
She's a Latina woman from the inner city of Milwaukee, and I'm a white guy from the suburbs. Diversity in the white guy. You are not going to believe what you hear on this show. I'm telling you, you're going to have to listen. News Talk, 1510 a.m., WRRD.
Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Bring it? Oh, it's already been brought in. Dom and Krutz are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, 1510 a.m. WRRD, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter at Devil Radio. On the phone lines, last segment of the day. So if you're feeling feisty, if you got something to say, if you're concerned about the alien invasion, 844-967-2789.
Dom, I got to admit, I'm a little cynical about the whole aliens thing. Although perhaps not as cynical as you about nearly every topic. Or my children.
I'm not cynical about your children.
Well, let me tell you a little story about my kids. My wife got this bright idea, and my wife loves our children. Probably more than me. Way more than me. It's not even close.
She loves the children more than you, or she loves the children more than you love the children? Both?
I would like to think we love the children equally. But of course, we all have our favorites. But no, it's so very clear. Hell, I don't even rate. My wife loves the children first, and then the dogs, and then like pan-style pizza, and then the husband.
Pan-style pizza is pretty damn good.
With the pepperonis, it can be quite good.
It's a little burnt on the edges, it's so yummy.
I can understand why I fall down the priority list, but here's the point. My wife gets this bright idea. She wants to do something super special for the kids for Christmas. But the timing of this little event would require her giving them the gift before Christmas. And she decided last night was going to be the night. We're going to break it to the kids last night. And so anyways, my wife brings the kids into the living room. They were actually, one was playing video games, one's looking at his phone or whatever screen time he was doing. And my wife's like, hey, why don't you videotape this? Yeah, on my phone. I'm like, okay, so I'm holding my phone. And then she comes out and she's standing there and standing there and standing there. My son's like, Dad, why are you videotaping us? I'm like, I'm not videotaping you. Yeah, you are, because nobody holds a phone like that unless you're videotaping. I'm like, well, maybe that's how I hold my phone when I watch porn, son. You don't know.
Whoa, what?
No, I did say that.
And videotape. Do your kids, do you have a videotape in the house? Or do they say, what do they say? Record? Or you actually... I'm just
videotape. The word might have come out, but anyways, but my response was, you don't know, maybe I'm just watching porn here in the living room. And my wife not taking the cue whatsoever, like, hey, camera, rolling, action,
right, and go.
So for whatever reason, this puts my kids in a suspicious mood. They think Dad's trying to put one over on us in some way, shape, or form. So my wife comes out with the announcement last night. Hey, kids, I'm taking you to Florida for Christmas.
Hey, all right.
There was no cheering.
No,
you're not. They were completely cynical. They did not believe that my wife intended to take them to Florida for Christmas. Not taking Dad, but their mom's taking the kids. And I'm like, no, this is really going to happen. You guys are making it up. Literally, neither kid even seemed excited. There were no smiles. They're like, you're putting one. This is a prank.
So do you think the reaction was because of your recording of the event?
I would like to think so.
Right off the bat, they were
I could understand if the Salvia children were, overly jaded, but my children seem like they've grown up normally. I'm not so cynical myself.
Come on. Grown up normally?
But so anyways, my wife goes and, she used one of the sites. I don't know which one, but she printed off the tickets. So then my son's like, prove it. Karsten, the youngest, prove it, Mom. So my wife brings out the tickets printed offline. These aren't real airline tickets. You could have just typed this up, he said. I'm thinking, really, we don't have that much time for pranks.
I want to see the credit card payment.
So anyways, we finally convinced one of the two children that indeed they're getting on an airplane. And then you know what Caden says? I don't want to go. I'm like, why wouldn't you? I'm like, you can stay home with Dad, but you're going to the office every day. Dad's got to work. Dad can't go.
Why wouldn't you go to Florida? Go see some water. Go swimming.
I wanted to experience some Christmas, some snowy weather. I'm like, the snow will be here for the next 3 months when you get back. Believe me, son, you'll experience snow. Go get a tan. Go enjoy the beach. They're going to like Busch Gardens. They're going to like cool places.
Yeah, going on adventure in Florida where it's warm.
My wife just packs it in. So, basically I had to drag my second son, get in the car. He was kind of brutal to me. I took him out to dinner. He's like poking at me and stuff. I'm like, knock it off. He wouldn't let me. He made me sit on the inside of a Culver's booth. I'm a big guy. I never sit on the inside anywhere. No, he's like jamming me in the corner.
Oh, he's going to miss you, man.
I don't think it's miss me. I think he was a little bitter that, Mom dropped this bomb on him.
Without consulting him?
You are the luckiest freaking kids I've ever met. My mom never snuck home and said, hey, we're going to Disneyland. You know, I never got that sort of treatment when I was a kid. I'd have been ecstatic. My initial reaction would not be, oh, Mom must be lying to me. Prove it, Mom. Prove it. I want to see the credit card statements in triplicate.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, if their kid's natural reaction was that, what kind of home environment are you encouraging? I mean, every time you pull your phone out to record, they're already that cynical.
You got a beating coming, and I'm going to videotape it.
So,
I thought you said that you were the one who had the beating coming when you held that phone that way.
844-967-2789. Let's get to the phones. Oh, running out of time. But we got time for Randy from Madison, Wisconsin. Hey, Randy, thanks for calling. Welcome to the show.
How you doing, Randy?
I'm well, thank you. Hey, Crute, it sounds like your kids are becoming investigative journalists like yourself, and skepticism is always a good thing in this gaslit world.
Well, they got a healthy dose of skepticism between the twos of them, the two Utes.
Well, listen, I'm sure you tell them that it'll be very magical to go to Busch Gardens or wherever they go. Anyhow, I just wanted to make a comment about the UFO thing. I mean, I did a little study on this too, and I've been around like 5 or 6 decades on this earth. But the interesting thing about this is it was on the national news, the video of the Tic Tac thing. So it's kind of strange, you know. It's almost like we're being set up for some sort of disclosure, and it's almost like the world can't get any stranger. And if this is introduced into the proposition, then it shifts the paradigm of all of us.
Yeah.
I mean, just as the paradigm of North Korea and Russia and Trump and this and that and tax breaks and blah, blah, blah and global warming. So I think this is something that you guys should continue to pursue.
Well, Randy, much like my kids last night, you know, this concept that there's aliens amongst us, it does not compute with my little brain. You know, if Trump had to face off the aliens, I mean, what would he tweet at them? You know, what would our existence of humanity if Donald Trump is the guy that gets to represent us to foreign powers?
We're doomed.
We would be doomed, man. We'd all be enslaved. Yes, sir.
Crudy, I called in last Friday and I said Dom was right about that they both lied. Dom's right in this case, too, because it's not that hard to imagine within the multiverse that we live, or the cosmos, that there's an intelligence that is like 1 million or 1 billion years beyond us. So there's nothing wrong with entertaining the concept and talking about it. So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's
but
a
Randy,
huge paradigm.
There's like 7 billion people on Earth, and I've met like 3 with intelligence ever. And I count myself in that number, so really only like me and 2 others.
Randy, let me ask you this, and I certainly appreciate the call, and I think the lack of response, and I've seen some online, but I would think, you know, if this was 30 years ago and it was the government that released this information, and these were, you know, fighter pilots that witnessed it and talked about it and all these things, that it would be much more of an issue than it is today. What obligation do we citizens, does our government in a representative republic owe the citizens for this kind of information? Certainly this can't be the only video out there. This can't be the only story. Isn't it time that perhaps the government comes clean on what it knows regarding these phenomena?
Well, listen, Dom, evidently they already are, because it was on the national news just 2 days ago. I saw the video. They explained the story, and so it's just like a huge difference than there ever has been in the past. And I find that really interesting. And I'll take it back to a huge paradigm shift for collective humanity, as well as individual people that walk the earth. But I don't know whether it's right or wrong, but I'm going to ring in on on Dom's perspective that the idea of an intelligence that is like a million years beyond us is not that hard to grasp.
You guys have been watching too many Star Wars movies.
Come on, I'm open to the idea. If people have faith in religions and things, certainly I can have a thought that perhaps we are not the pinnacle of evolution of existence.
Well, sure, but, you know, my brain, cognitively, I cannot handle aliens and Donald Trump's election in the same year. You're going to have to give me a break. You're going to have to break this one to me after Trump's impeachment. Then I could perhaps be ready for this sort of strange.
Well, and Randy pointed out I was right twice last Friday. I was right again, Crudy. Quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers, on injured reserve, will not play anymore this year. I told you, man.
Yeah, now you're just pissing me off. Now you're just rubbing it in. So my family did make it to Florida without me. Have a happy trip, everyone. We'll see them this weekend. We'll see you tomorrow on the Devil's Advocates. Thank you to our fine guests, Mike McCabe, Andy Koronic, two fine Democrats running for governor. We'll do it all again tomorrow if the aliens don't take us away.
Our economy's on fire.
I wish you weren't a liar.
What do you think of these online reports that say you had a love child in college?
When you need an attorney, trust the voice of experience. The only choice, Lawton and Cates.
Farming is one of the most difficult and dangerous jobs in America. It's a fact of farming life that when the equipment breaks down, the farmer is the one doing the fixing. One of our challenging cases involved a Dodge County farmer who was left paralyzed while repairing a farm wagon that had a defective design. The jury found the manufacturer negligent and awarded our client damages, including pain, suffering, disability, and a significant amount in loss of society and companionship to his spouse. If your life is disrupted by injury or other legal dispute, Lawton and Cates can help you achieve a successful result. Trust the voice of experience. Call the attorneys at Lawton and Cates, 282-6200.
When you need an attorney, trust the voice of experience. The only choice, Lawton and Cates.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in the former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting
window to stay alert. Probably okay. I just popped some gum in my mouth.
Step out of the car, please.
I probably